Mm, mm, mm. Let's get it. Let's go Devils, man. Force that game 6. I already saw my guy Nick Totoro in here. Let's go Yanks. Let's go Yanks. Let's talk about it. Pam, what up? The bats went crazy. You love to see it. Okay, 30 seconds. We're going to start the show. The Mets win. Detroit in 7. Damn. Could be. New York with the L. Yeah, the Knicks. We're going to talk about it. I bet you it's mostly Knicks calls. Here we go. Show starting now. I got the burp show. Too much lettuce. Yeah, it's one of those nights. Let's get into it. 888-808-1019. Listen, it's the sports equinox, right? We got an 80-plus degree day in New York City. We have 4 major teams playing. The New York Yankees, they were not playing. Right away. Bop, 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 bop. Kyle Gibson, we appreciate you. Carlos Rodon, we appreciate you. How about the Make It Happen Mets? They don't lose at home. That Mets defense making plays all over the field, hitting home runs, raising the apple. The Knicks, I know all of the calls are going to come in. 888-808-1019. The Knicks do not close out Detroit at home. I don't know what was going on in the fourth quarter as I'm sitting in it. I was watching it on my phone, and then I came in here, and I'm still just like, how do you let your closer, the clutch player of the year, miss the winning time moments? Like, how do you not have him on the floor? And again, we go back to game 2 where they lost game 2. And I mean, Bridges hit some shots down the stretch, but it was like it was on Bridges. Shouldn't be on Mikal Bridges. And not only was Josh Hart not in the game, or not only was Jalen Brunson not in the game, Josh Hart wasn't in the game, and a whole minute runs off the clock before you can get him in the game. It was almost like they were conceding the loss, like, oh, yeah, y'all got us. Y'all got the best of us this time, but still they made it close. OG hits the 3, and, ultimately, Detroit wasn't going quietly. They were mad. They were pissed off about the no call in game 4, and you knew that they were coming in here fighting for their lives. And, this Knicks game, high ticket prices, almost $500 to get in, and you're prepared for an elimination game, a party in the streets. But right away, both teams look tight. There was a lot of missed baskets, tense. It's an elimination game. It's potentially the last game of the season. It's not now. It was low scoring. Native New Yorker Tobias Harris out there cooking up. The quote unquote best player in the series, Cade Cunningham, leads Detroit with 24 points, and down the stretch, it seems like he's growing up a little bit in this series. He's doing what he's got to do. He was a plus 13, 8 assists, 8 rebounds, hit his free throws. In my live chat, somebody was just saying to me, Mitchell Robinson hit your free throws. I said, that's not part of his game. That's not, you can't be relying on Mitchell Robinson to hit his free throws. But when you look at the like free throws in totality, when you lose a game at home by 3 points and you shoot 59.3% from the charity stripe, that's not good. 888-808-1019. That's not good. 16 of 27 from the free throw line. And I don't want to say the Knicks look tired. I don't want to say they look hurt. I mean, obviously, guys were hurt at the end. Josh Hart was hurt at the end. But they kind of just look like, again, like they ran out of gas. Knicks fans, call me up, tell me how you feel, because I felt like they needed to close that one out. Knicks in 5 at home. I think everybody was saying that. You got to close them out. Got to close them. Remember last year with the Sixers and, you don't want to go back to Detroit. Well, you're going back to Michigan now. And not for nothing, Detroit hasn't won anything in their building. But, like, that's subject to change. Are they going to go winless at home? Are they going to go winless in their building? I don't know. The Knicks had the opportunity tonight to potentially do it, but it was too close. It was too close. It was never there was never a real time in that game where you felt like the Knicks had it. They didn't have the largest lead they had was 5. The Pistons doubled that. Their largest lead was 10. And in a game like that, you just could feel that the Pistons weren't going. When I say they weren't going, they were hanging around. They didn't want their season to end tonight. And there was no heroics. Karl Anthony Towns does give you 17 points, 11 rebounds, but like down the stretch, you don't have the heroics to close it out. And there's going to be a lot of people talking about how those last minutes played out in the fourth quarter. 888-808-1019. If you're coming from the Knicks game, call us up. If you just watched that Knicks game, call us up. If you're just kind of stunned after that Knicks game, call us up. We will get to the Yankees. We will get to the Mets. For my Devils fans out there, there's about 7.5 minutes left in the first overtime period down in Raleigh, North Carolina. The Devils are fighting for their lives. They go up 3-0 in the first period, give it all right back. Nico Hischier is able to score a goal, and then here come the Hurricanes to tie it up 4-4, and it's been 4-4, and now we just wait to see who's the first to light the lamp. It's one of those nights, sports equinox. You got basketball, you got baseball, you got hockey. Let's talk about it. Robbie is in Lenox, first up on the Fan. Go for it, Robbie.
Hey, Keith, it's a pleasure to be first on the show, man. Listen, I got to tell you something tonight, all right? I saw the last Knicks championship in 1973, all right? So I come from a very different generation of basketball than a lot of you callers would, okay? But tonight, it makes me sick. When you see an NBA team shoot 59% from the charity stripe, okay, that's why they lost this game. I don't want to hear about anything else. You can't make a free throw. To me, I'd love to see Rick Barry come in and teach Mitchell Robinson how to shoot underhanded, because Mitchell Robinson can't make a free throw, and it's very tough because I love Mitchell Robinson, but when he's out there, he gets fouls. He's not going to make both free throws, and it's a detriment. And at the same time, it's a blessing that he's on the court. You know what I mean, Keith? And it's very, very difficult to watch the NBA today. I mean, can you just tell me, because I didn't see how many touches did Karl Anthony Towns get tonight in this game? Can you tell me at all? Do you have the stats on that?
I can try and go pull how many times he had the ball. I can tell you how many times he shot it.
Okay, because it drives me crazy when you have a 7-foot guy standing 30 feet away from the basket. See, this is the problem I have with the NBA today. All it is half the time, 90% of the time, all you do is see 4 guys standing around the perimeter and 1 guy dribbling the basketball trying to go one-on-one. And the other thing that bothers me tonight, how many stinking times do I need to see Cunningham inside the paint and other players on the Pistons get easy dunks time after time after time? Did you watch the end of the Indiana game today? How ridiculous that game was?
No, I know it was close, though, and Indiana closed them out.
Yeah, they closed them out. And in the last play, I couldn't believe it, watching their guard just go around Giannis and just an easy basket. You see so many easy lay-ins. Guys don't play above the rim enough. This Knicks team doesn't play above the rim. And again, I've said it so many times about this team. There's no depth. You have nobody coming off the bench. This team needs a Vinny Johnson. This team needs that type of player to give them energy. That's what Josh Hart used to be coming off the bench. That's why I like Josh Hart coming off the bench better. He was good tonight, though. When he gets 17 or 18 points, that's good. But when Karl-Anthony Towns scored 17 points and Jalen Brunson gets 17, that's not good. I mean, if they lose to the Pistons, that's embarrassing. I'm sorry. I still think they're going to close out the series, but they need to share the ball more. And damn it, can you go inside and stop trying to shoot three-pointers all the time? It's such nauseum. The idea of basketball is to get the ball close to the basket. Anyway, I thought I shared. Hey, well, your Devils, Jacob Markstrom was standing on his head right now, Steve.
Yeah, he better. He better after he gave it all back in the second period. Thanks for the call. 888-808-1019. I'm trying to look at the, last few possessions to go back to see Karl-Anthony Towns. I think around 3 minutes, 3:25. Karl-Anthony Towns made a 26-foot three-pointer. After that, though, down the stretch, it was Mikal Bridges. Karl-Anthony Towns wasn't really the guy with the ball. From what you saw, what I saw, he wasn't the guy taking the shots. It was, Miles McBride. It was Mikal Bridges. He missed a couple, but he also hit a big one. OG hit one. But, when you talk about Josh Hart coming into the game, it just all comes down to me like that 2-minute mark when they got up to try to get them in the game and then they couldn't get back into the game. So it was already done. It was already wraps. You know how it crunches at the end of the game where if they got a lead and it's fouls and they hit their foul shots and you don't hit your foul shots, that's game blouses. So 888-808-1019. I'll pull up some more numbers and some different things. Dial the number. Join the show. We've got Knicks fans calling in. We'll start with the Knicks. The Knicks lose 106-103 in the Garden to the Detroit Pistons. The series is now 3-2, heading back to Little Caesars Arena in Detroit, Michigan. Keith McPherson on the Fan. We will be right back. All right, yo. So we're rolling now. There's a lot going on. I'm watching this Devils game live. I showed y'all that. And they're in OT, and any minute now, we should know what the verdict is in Raleigh, North Carolina. I am taking calls from angry Knicks fans that are disappointed with how the game ended, understandably so. And the series is not over. It is not Knicks in 5. I originally said Knicks in 6. I may be correct on that. I may not be correct on that. It might be a 7-game series, and they're playing with fire, man. They are playing with fire. Anywho, back to me. Flip camera. I'm live on TikTok, so people watching me here, I'm talking to my TikTok because that's a separate live. We are in the live era. You should be going live every day if you're, building your following, building your brand, building your influence, and working on things. So that's what I am doing. I'm live on the radio. I'm live on Twitch, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, and I'm live on TikTok. So multiple people, multiple ways for people to enjoy the show. Let me get into this chat, though. Appreciate all y'all. It's always jumping in here from the Twitter feed and the YouTube feed with comments and stuff. Let's see. What's up, Mike? Crazy game. Boom, boom, boom. Yeah, we'll get to the Yankees, but I think we gotta hit this Knicks game at least for this first half hour. And then we'll get to it. Knicks couldn't close tonight. Again. Home court advantage. Their home court advantage has turned to home court advantage for the Pistons. The Pistons have won their 2 games in Madison Square Garden. At least the Yanks exploded. Yeah, right away. You love to see it. Fresh shirt. Thanks. Appreciate it. Something light, little crew neck, little Yankee crew. Pamela, what up? E-Book says the Knicks suck. They all hurt again, and they are done. Let's go Yanks. The people's champ. What up? Great game from the Yanks. Awesome to see Rodon be sharp again. I will get into it. Keith, I might not make it through this OT. Yeah, we're gonna make it, but we hope that the Devils can make us happy with it and make it a 6-game series and not end tonight. You know, don't let them celebrate on their home ice. Make them come back to Jersey, the same way the Pistons just did with the Knicks. Come on. They waiting so long for that timeout. Yeah, well, that timeout, it seems like they were keeping that timeout in their back pocket because they thought they might need it once they get their guys back in. That's tough. There were 2 timeouts. I don't know. At least my Mets loving brother Cash. I don't know what that means. At least my Mets loving little brother can shut up tonight since the Yanks won. But the Mets fans aren't shutting up tonight. The Mets played great tonight. Oh boy, here we go. Yep, another KM to AM with a lot to talk about, a lot of views and topics and things to go over. CC was a beast. Who is CC? Cade Cunningham. 24 points. Knicks got to win the next game. Yeah, they better because then you're playing with real fire. You go lose. I don't know. It's not good. Knicks were a little bit sloppy in the third and fourth quarter. Yeah, the Pistons went on their main run, I think, in the third. The Knicks were into it, missed shots, free throws. The refs were horrible. We can't keep blaming the refs, though. 6 pick. I had originally put Knicks in 6. So if they can do what they did last year with the Sixers, go on the road and close it out, then yeah. Let's talk about the Chicago White Sox and their horrific City Connect jerseys. Those are going to sell. Those are going to sell more than anything that they have for the White Sox. They're Jerry Reinsdorf, right? Isn't that their owner? And he's the same owner as Jerry Reinsdorf is the owner of the White Sox and the Bulls. So it's a mashup of his 2 teams. You know how many people are buying that red and black jersey to wear with their Jordans? Like, that jersey's selling. It might look ugly on the field. People are buying it for fashion. But yes, the Mets and Yankees win. What up, Hector? Knicks need to look for a forward that can dribble this offseason. Miss talking Nets. It'll come back. There's nothing to talk about with the Nets. They're not playing. I'm going to do an episode of Talking Nets on lottery night. Was Belichick allowed to stay up for the Knicks game? That's hilarious. That is funny, bro. I've tried to stay away from that. I don't even have enough airtime to go into Bill Belichick. You know what I'm saying? For me to actually speak about that is a waste of my own show. Your bro is picking on you about the Mets versus Yanks records. I couldn't tell you that. I think the Mets are 21-9 and the Yankees are 17 and 12, 18 and 12. I don't even know the records right now. This isn't part of the year where you start flexing records, where you start talking about what your record is. No, the Knicks can't have Dan Hurley. He's staying at UConn. Yeah, Knicks fans gonna be ready to fire this coach. All right, we're coming back. Oh, yeah, the hats are super fire for the White Sox. Like, what we do?
Good evening at 11 o'clock. I'm Marco Belletti. The Sports brought to you by Mercedes-Benz in Morristown. Another wasted chance to close out a series at home as the Knicks unable to hold off the Pistons. .24 for Cade Cunningham. Pistons dumped the Knicks 106-103. Mike Breen, the call MSG. Knicks couldn't find their shot all night. 43% overall, 36% from deep. 19 points for OG Anunoby, 17 apiece for Karl Anthony Towns and Mikal Bridges. just 16 for Jalen Brunson, 4 of 16 from the floor. Also appeared to tweak that injured ankle again late in the fourth. Mitchell Robinson was a beast off the bench with 13 points, 11 rebounds, a couple of blocks, but the Knicks will head back to Detroit for a Game 6 on Thursday night. Yankees became the first team in baseball history to go back-to-back to start the game more than once in the season. It was Trent Grisham, Aaron Judge, Ben Rice opening a barrage of 6 homers, including a pair from Rice, as the Yankees pound the Orioles 15-3. Carlos Rodon, 6 innings, a 1-run ball, but not all great news. Jazz Chisholm left the game oblique injury, MRI to come. Mets ripped the Diamondbacks 8-3 as Francisco Lindor, Pete Alonso, Starling Marte, they all went deep. David Peterson, 1 run over 5. Meanwhile, for A.J. Minter, may need season-ending surgery for that injured lat. Still no decision on that just yet. Devils have given back a 3-0 advantage, but they're still even at 4 with the Hurricanes. We're going to head to double overtime, trying to stave off elimination and force a Game 6. Carolina, of course, leading the series 3-1. 70 degrees, cloudy skies, Central Park. That's happening. I'm Marco Belletti.
So you have the audio from Tibbs right now? Yeah, just can you lead with it? Like, can you play it from here, or you want me to cue it up? Okay. Okay, and we're back. 888-808-1019. We got a full rack of calls. Obviously, we're going to start with the New York Knicks. Yes, the Yankees lead the league in home runs, and the Mets defense was sharp tonight, and they hit some more home runs too. But, man, it's just a strange way to lose on your home floor, and now you've already lost 2 games on your home floor to a team that hasn't been able to win on their home floor, and you got to go back to their home. I don't know, man. My whole thing that I was trying to wrap my mind around was calling timeout and why 2 of your best players, your most clutch player, and then arguably your toughest, grittiest, glue guy aren't on. And I know they were hurt, they were tired, but still, it's the playoffs. So let's hear from, in the postgame, New York Knicks head coach Tom Thibodeau.
Josh there on the scores table, in and check the kid in. What was the thought process of not calling a timeout or not getting them back in the game as that week kind of went up?
Just where we were with our timeouts. Coach's decision.
Your overall thoughts on the officiating today?
It is what it is.
Coach, how hard is it for players to adjust when the game is just called differently, right? From the first couple of games, it was very physical, both sides. This one, it seemed like they were calling touch fouls versus before. What's it like for a player to adjust? What's the message to them to adjust?
You got to adjust the way they call it.
Steph was referencing, you were, I think, 1 foul away from the bonus. Is that why you chose not to foul there too, to stop the clock to get those guys in?
Just coach's decision.
Tom, just more specifically on that, like when you have 1 timeout in that situation, you obviously don't want to go into the close part of the game and the end of the game with no timeouts. What are you weighing there in order to try to get guys in? Like, is there a marker that you're waiting for?
So you're looking time, score, penalty,
score,
timeouts, all of the above. What's happening in the game? Do you feel like the next possession is, we'll put it away? There's a lot that goes into it.
You talked before the game about the focus on tonight, but again, a 10-point deficit in the second half. You see the same sort of things third quarter.
Yeah, we got to play for 48 minutes.
What was Josh Hart dealing with when he briefly left?
I haven't talked to medical. He had to go out. Jalen had to go out. Bochy had to go out.
Going back to Detroit, Coach, what message do you send to the guys?
The challenge is to reset. Every game's different, and take a look at the film, see what we can do better, and be ready to go next game.
Tom, the crunch time in the fourth quarter, I know you talked a couple games ago about wanting to kind of get into the offense quicker. It seemed like you guys were getting into your sets a little bit late in the fourth. Was that something that you felt like was a problem, or do you think?
Well, yeah, we had some guys that were out, so that's the challenge. We didn't know when they were coming back, if they were coming back, so that's part of it. So you got different combinations out there.
Coach, can you talk about what Mitch gave you guys tonight?
Yeah, I thought he gave us good lift, good energy. The rebounding was good enough. Defense was good enough. Our turnovers hurt us. So we got to clean that up.
Okay. Courtesy of MSG, that's the Knicks head coach, and I don't know what his. I don't know. I'm looking at Paulie. He's got to have a little bit more for me, a little different delivery. And I get it that it's not the end of the world. The series isn't over. I just need a little bit more of an explanation. The Knicks take that timeout at 27-1. It's 103-97. The Pistons end up taking 2 more times. You guys know how the game ended. It's just a weird way to fold. And then even they had to go out and haven't talked to medical or whatever. Like, what was wrong? How do you not go? How do you go down with that lineup? I don't know. That's a tough way to lose. Maybe 888-808-1019. Let's talk to these Knicks fans. Nobody's stealing anybody's thunder. We are going to simply share the thunder. So if somebody says something that you were thinking or that you were going to say, it's okay. You'll get your turn as well. Ryan in Terrytown, you get to go first here.
Thanks for my call, Keith. So I think, unfortunately, this is the beginning of the end for Tibbs, and I felt it in that last minute. I compare this Knicks team to the early 90s teams with Rick Pitino and Stu Jackson, and this is Tom Thibodeau's final product for the past couple of years, and it's just not getting the job done. And he's, track record, he doesn't really get the job done in the playoffs with Derrick Rose MVP with the Bulls. I think we got to move on, and that's when the Knicks got Riley and
it's just, is it not weird to anybody and yourself, Ryan? Thanks for the call. Is it not weird that that's an elimination game and it ends like that, and all he says is coach's decision? It was a coach's decision. If it's a coach's decision, that falls on you. They're pointing the finger at you. If this thing goes south, I don't know. I don't know. Matt in Manhattan on the Fan next. What you got for us? Matt, you there?
Oh, Keith, sorry, man. I got it in here. How are you, man? It feels like therapy over here.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. I'm kind of puzzled by the coach's decision, and then in the post game, standing on business, being like, coach's decision.
Yeah, I'm sitting here with my son. We just left the game. We're sitting in traffic. I don't understand what Tibbs just said in that press conference at all. But you come out today, you get a 24-second violation on the first possession of the game. I just don't know why they're always coming out flat. I just don't know how.
They were tense. They were tight in the beginning of the game. Go on.
You want to be a championship team. I know things happen. You got to go out there and win the game on the floor. But I don't know how you come home and play that game tonight. I don't know how you shoot like that from the line. I know you got Mr. Robin out there and he's giving you other things. He's not going to give you free throws. We're sitting here in disbelief. They just had nothing out there. It just seemed like couldn't get that big stop. All of those things that all the fans who are on hold right now are thinking. You just feels like we're all in it together. But when you need that big stop, when you need to make a play, this team just doesn't seem to do it.
Thanks for the call, Matt. Get home safe. Urgency. A sense of urgency is needed in those winning moments in crunch time. And I felt like they kind of froze. I felt like they were just melting. I'm sitting here watching the game like, are they just going to let this go down? Brunson and Hart got up. And it was like they just, I don't know. When you're watching a car crash, they can't get into the game. And obviously the game comes down to the final minutes and seconds. But there's so much more than that, right? Matt just went back to how the game started. I'm watching the game. There's a bunch of misses. It doesn't look like a team that's stepping on the court saying, this ends tonight. Richie in Queens on the Fan. What's up, Richie?
Yeah, that was a horrendous conference. I have no idea what he's saying.
Yeah, you got to give us more than that as far as what you were thinking and why that unraveled that way. Okay, Richie just dropped. Jack in Seacaucus, you're live. Go for it. Okay, something is happening to the phones because Jack just dropped and I didn't touch that. So, Donnie in Westchester, your turn.
You hear me?
Yes, right now. Go for it.
Okay.
Listen, I was at the game too, driving home on the West Side Highway. Unfortunately, the team came out, as you said, flat. Didn't make shots, didn't want it as much as Detroit. Every loose ball seemed to go Detroit's way. Obviously buckets were in and out. Mikhail Bridges was a non-factor until very late in the game. Missed a lot of open shots. He's been a huge disappointment as far as I'm concerned. His numbers might look good, but in terms of the eye test, he just doesn't pass it. Hart is doing everything he possibly can to get the job done. Obviously Brunson was a non-factor until late
Shout
as
out
well. But like you said, I couldn't agree more. Unfortunately, the team didn't want it tonight as much as Detroit. And people say that it sounds a little bit cliche, but they just didn't. Detroit wanted it more. Every possession that we had, we may have knocked down a shot. They came right back and knocked it down right after. It just didn't feel like the sense of urgency was there. And a lot of Knicks fans tonight feel just very disappointed. It feels like it's inevitable that we're going to lose. I mean, no matter what, even if we get out of this series, we're going to lose in the next round and get smoked and embarrassed because we have zero depth. Bridges and Deuce and Payne and Achua has not seen the floor in a month. So it just feels like it's just deeply frustrating, and it feels like another kind of run it back type of year this year, and I hope it changes for next year. That's all.
Yeah, it seems like we're prolonging the inevitable. It seems like the writing is on the wall, but like, I don't know. I heard people talk about the Celtics the last couple days on the Fan, my show, other shows, and I'm like, whoa, wait a minute. Why are we talking about the Celtics or the fact that the Celtics lost a game or like why are we looking ahead? Why are we looking ahead? There was a lot of talk about finish your food. Don't play with your food. That's why I go back to having a sense of urgency, a closeout game in the Garden. You could end it here and then kick your feet up a bit. Now you got to go back to Detroit. You put the battery in their back. They have life now. They feel like they were cheated in game 4. They feel like they're going to go back to Detroit and have some redemption. And right now, your head coach doesn't have any answers. Maybe we can get some audio from some of the players, but like that is a tough way to go down. And when you look at the quarters and the breakdown, it's like that third quarter was the quarter where, I mean, I'm looking at the third quarter. I was actually home watching the third quarter, and I'm like, the Knicks aren't going to win this game. I think in the first half, I had in my notes that Brunson, he didn't hit a field goal until about a minute to go in the first half. And I know Cade Cunningham didn't have that many points either, but you look at the best players, it's like, okay, winning time, they're going to close it out. Brunson didn't have the opportunity. He wasn't on the floor. And I don't know. If these guys are hurt, I know there was a lot of guys on the ground. There was a lot of collisions, they've been playing a physical series. You can't blame it on the refs this time. It's execution this time. It's energy this time. It's not coming out and just like delivering that final blow to say, yo, we're done with y'all. We're on to the next round. And I feel like that needed to happen tonight because we're prolonging the inevitable. If you can't beat the Detroit Pistons, a team that showed you that they lack experience, that they're young, the way that they blew games in their building, this was a game tonight that you absolutely had to have. Now the series goes 6. I mean, we saw the Knicks go to Philadelphia and win it in 6, but Philly's right down the road. They got to get on the plane. They got to go back to Michigan. And I think that those fans, they're going to be on one. And these players are on one. These players feel like, hey, we got a game taken from us. Now we're back in the series. We win one. We force a game 7, and then anything can happen in a game 7. Okay, Jack and Sea Caucus is back on the line. Your turn now, Jack.
Hey, Keith, thanks for getting me back on.
No problem.
Well, here we are 2 years in a row. I'm really frustrated by how the Knicks couldn't close out at home. And it's funny how you mentioned the third quarter. It's funny that MSG put up the graphic that the Knicks were, I think, minus 27 or 29 in the third quarters in this series. And it felt like they just got through that third quarter by the skin of their teeth. And then the fourth quarter, man, did that quarter go as fast as a fourth quarter I've ever seen? I usually think in a basketball game, the fourth quarter takes so much longer, but the final seconds, the final minutes just flew by. They slipped out of the Knicks' hands. And here we are again in the same position as we are last year, having to go on the road to win Game 6. But I'm completely confident that the Knicks will win Game 6 in Detroit and count on them to play the Celtics well. So do not start going with the narrative that last year's Knicks would have started hitting these shots at the tail end of this game. Have faith in this team that they will come back in Game 6. Thank you so much, Keith.
Positive energy. It's needed right now. Thanks for the call, Jack. 888-808-1019. You got to believe. And listen, if they do lose this series, heads have to roll. And the way that the head coach spoke tonight and the way that they didn't execute, and he was kind of standing there with that timeout, and that timeout doesn't get called till 27 seconds left. And then, like, you still did get some shots that were knocked down. Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby knocked down some shots. Like, imagine if Brunson was in the game a little bit earlier, how those possessions could have played out. They have to survive this series. It has to be Knicks in 6. I know a lot of you bet Knicks in 6. I didn't bet it, but I was saying Knicks in 6 on the radio as soon as we knew the matchup, because I was putting some respect on Detroit. A lot of people were picking Detroit to beat the Knicks. They're not supposed to beat the Knicks. The Knicks are supposed to meet the Celtics in the second round. But all the conversation about can the Knicks get a game off the Celtics, what the Celtics, don't worry about that. Like, now there's worry here. Going back to Little Caesars Arena in Detroit, they haven't won a game over there. Are they going to go winless in their building? Are the Knicks going to go back there and turn it on again? Are they going to need help from the officials? Is Karl Anthony Towns going to be able to hit miraculous shots? Is Brunson going to be the clutch player of the year? Are they going to be healthy? Are they going to be available? Like, it's intriguing. We'll see. In Nutley, Joe is next on the fan. What's up, Joe?
Hi, how's it going? Good evening. I'm so disheartened, and I find myself in other playoff series, like, you know, the Mets or obviously the Yankees making the World Series. Like, they have this team has a 0% chance to go through Boston. If they survive this series, and then they have to go through Boston, they have no bench. They lack continuity, obviously, especially during the end of games. They don't have the depth, especially that Boston has. But you almost won't be totally upset if they blow this lead because of the fact that heads will roll. You know that changes are needed so much, so drastically to even have a chance with the Thunder of the world, with the Celtics of the world, with the Cleveland of the world. And there's such a disparity between top of the NBA and where the Knicks are, middling, fighting tooth and nail in the mud with the Detroits of the world. And obviously in the Pacers of the world. Like, those teams, they just don't have enough at the top to beat those top echelon teams. And that's where the Knicks are right now. It's helpless. It's hopeless. It's a terrible place to be in purgatory. And that tonight was just another example of that.
Really, really tough pill to swallow.
Thanks for the call, Joe. It's not over until it's over. It does knock you right off your high horse, though. Coming off the high of the weekend and that game Sunday and thinking, hey, here we go, Tuesday night in the Garden, going to close it out in 5, get ready for the Celtics, who just went final. The Celtics defeat the Magic 120-89. Boston wins the series 4-1. They're waiting. They're waiting. Matt is in Maryland on the fan in New York. What up, Matt?
They lost this game the same way they lose many games through the regular season. In the third quarter, I don't know what it is that the Knicks are able to make adjustments. It doesn't matter if they're winning by 20 or if they're tied. They're going to lose the third quarter. And then they have to struggle to get back. It's like they have to work double as hard because of these third quarter collapses. And it's been a continuous thing.
It's weird, though, right? Isn't it weird that, like, it seems like they take the third quarter off expecting to dominate the fourth quarter?
And then you're not going to win in the playoffs then. So if they get sent home, it's going to be because Tibbs has been able to make adjustments because Tibbs and the coaching staff. I tell you, when they lost one coach that went to Cleveland for a better job, the assistant coach, the one that used to always get in Randall's face, the short one. I don't remember his. I think his name is Davis. That was the biggest loss to the Knicks. But whatever he was doing, he improved Davis, and then Cleveland got better once he went to them.
Johnny Bryant.
Johnny Bryant, yeah, that's the coach, yeah, that one. And it seemed like they should have overpaid to keep him. That was the biggest loss. And his Tibbs loses his job because if they lose the series, they should interview for a head coach's job because I don't know what he did with Randall, but he got him better. And I remember Mitchell thinks the world of him, Donovan Mitchell. And in addition to that, the big man on Cleveland got better. Oh, it's like he knows how to improve these players' conditioning. And if Bridges can't get in the weight room, it's like so many of his shots getting blocked when Randall gave him an alley loop and he tried to lay it up, and that young kid Thompson just swatted that thing out. I said, "Oh gosh, he's gone! Like he's killing me, Bridges." I'm like, you've been in the league too. That's a guy I can tell that does not lift anyway.
Nah, he's not like that at all.
He's just playing for skill, and then these players today in the playoffs, the one that can thrive are the one that's in the weight room. That with OG, you can tell he's in the weight room. And
yeah, it's endurance, it's stamina, and it's absolute strength.
And Bridges is lacking it, and it's like he wants a big contract, and you're not playing like it. Like this is the time for you to make your money. You want it? Here it is. Go and get it. But you know what? Sometimes he gets real passive and he just disappears. And then when the Knicks needed him, I'm like, where are you? Nobody is trying to do alley oops layups in the playoffs. You know you got to dunk that ball. At least try to dunk it so you can get a foul.
Yeah, but he's not a dog like that. Thanks for the call, Matt. We got a break. If you go to NBA.com, you can go to the box score and just click third quarter. And if you look at that third quarter, Karl-Anthony Towns had 0, but Asor Thompson had 9 points. Cade Cunningham had 7 points. Go take a look while we go to break. I'm going to pull up some more stuff. Keith McPherson on the Fan. We're talking Knicks. I know these Yankee fans want to talk about Ben Rice and Aaron Judge and Cody Bellinger. You got off his back and he woke up for a night. I know these Mets fans want to talk about Pete Alonso and Francisco Lindor and you better call Tyrone. And the Devils are eliminated. That is the end of the New Jersey Devils season. 888-808-1019. Keith McPherson on the Fan. We'll be right back. Well, damn. The Devils lose. The Devils lose in double OT. Couldn't do it twice. Well, damn. All right, yo. Devils lose. Double OT. Season's over. Playoffs over. But let's see what y'all talking about in the chat. TikTok. I'm live here. YouTube, Twitter. I'm live here as well. I'll probably end the TikTok live in a minute, but it's just something I wanted to try. I'm trying a lot of things as of late. Pam says, I'm glad the Yankees won. Great time for baseball. John says, yeah. Military Mike says, let's go Mets, FAN. The head coach is running his players ragged. Poor Knicks. That's what they say about Tibbs. The minutes police are out. Them boys tired. This Jalen Brunson thing with him always getting hurt in the fourth is getting ridiculous. At least my Mets won. Go Frankie and Polar Bear. Yeah, the Mets are doing it. The Mets they're holding it down. They're looking like the best team in baseball. Do you think we win tomorrow? You're talking about the Yankees? They better. Let's see in the TikTok chat. So I'm live on the TikTok. You guys can see each other. In the TikTok chat, let's see what the TikTokers are saying. The Knicks don't have it. Knicks better win Thursday, and if not, they're in trouble since they can't close out a series at home. Love listening to you on the radio. Appreciate it, Ryan. Knicks have been completely outplayed in 3 games at MSG. If this gets back to game 7, it's over. It's tough. You don't want to go there. Good season. The injuries did them in at the end. Yeah, you're talking about the Devils, I assume. You think the Knicks will beat the Pistons? I said Knicks in 6. I think they're going to have a different way about them. They're going to be desperate. They're going to go on the road. They're going to turn it back on. They need to be the villains. They need to be the visiting team. They need to feel that feeling of F you, Bronson. I'm going to say that on air. Yo, don't tell anybody I just said that little bit that I just said because I'm going to say it on the radio when we come back. All right, what else? Detroit basketball. I don't rep that. Texas Strong says unlistenable of WFAN, but there's about 1,000 people between my live streams and millions of people that will probably hear this between tonight and tomorrow. So unlistenable. Who uses the word unlistenable? What is unlistenable? I have a full rack of calls. I have a bunch of people. Is it my voice? Out of all the voices that you listen to on the fan, I don't think I'm the most unlistenable. Is it my vernacular, my slang, my delivery? Nah. I don't think so. I think that's just a hater comment. That's just something a hater say. Unlistenable. I could see if you said about someone's music, I heard your album, it was unlistenable. I listened 30 seconds, I turned it off. The radio is not like that. Bro, what you mean the Celtics supposed to beat the Celtics? I'd rather them than Detroit if I'm the Celtics. The Celtics don't care if it's Detroit or New York. Knicks are not going to beat the Celtics. I never said anything about beating the Celtics. The Knicks aren't beating the Celtics. Shaq Dizu says that you're Stroman of WFAN. What does that mean? Probably some racist shit. The Stroman of WFAN. Make the correlation. Good game. See y'all in Detroit. Even if they do advance, and I think they will, they can't get away with how they've been playing. Unfortunately, they're not built to win a championship. They're not. This Knicks team, I told y'all this summer this Knicks team wasn't going to the Eastern Conference Finals. The Knicks played so sloppy down the stretch. Yeah, because they didn't have their main guys. Cade is going to be a problem for years to come. Yep, he's just getting his feet wet. He's learning. Trey says, what's up, Keith? What's up? Derek wanted me to shout out the TikTok chat. Shout out to the TikTok chat. I could not believe Tibbs let 80 seconds go by. He was asleep at the wheel. Pistons fan here. Yeah. And then in the post game, he said it was coach's decision. We know that. Why? Why did you decide to do that? GB83 found Keith's burner. I don't have a burner. And GB83, what did he say? He loves my show or loves listening to me. Love your show. You're a great presence on the fan. I couldn't even type that. I don't have any burner accounts, bro. Let's get back to the radio show. These internet randoms trip me out, man. But I appreciate it. The Towns, New York City. How you feeling? The Knicks lose to the Pistons in the Garden, Game 5. They do not close them out, and they got to go back to Detroit and get that feeling again. They got to go back to Detroit. They won back-to-back games in Detroit. So they got to go back to Motown and get that feeling of being the enemy, get their fans to chant F you, Bronson. F you, Brunson. They need to go back and, make them leave the arena, right? Close them out on their own floor. Make their fans leave early again for the end of their 2025. 888-808-1019. Phil is in Sheepshead Bay on the Fan. What's up, Phil?
The whole game. You know what bothers me? There's a pattern going on here. For some reason, the third quarter is not to the liking of any of the Knicks. They look like they're standing around. One guy dribbles the ball and waits and waits and waits. Finally takes a shot with 3 or 4 seconds left. That, to me, that's not basketball. I don't understand it.
Yeah, what do they do in the locker room during halftime? What is the strategy? What do they say?
Telling them, I have no idea.
Because, like,
he was interviewed the other day. I watched that. He says, we know what we're doing. What we do is we play basketball. What does that mean? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I need a little more than that. And, like, you got a 1-point lead coming out of halftime in your building. You would think that there'd be some intensity, a sense of urgency to, hey, let's put our foot on their throats. Let's close them out. Let's punch them in the mouth so that they don't think that they can take this game from us in the second half. Win in the third quarter, so the fourth quarter is a little bit easier.
Yeah, it's completely crazy. I just don't understand it. Anyway, you have a good evening, Keith. Take care.
Thanks for the call, Phil. Yeah, I don't know what to tell y'all, man. It's basketball, and it's, when you look at these games, they've been very close, all of them. I didn't have a good feeling about this game, though. I didn't have a good feeling at any point during this game that, like, the Knicks had it. But it's been a good series. Detroit versus New York. It goes back to Detroit. And the NBA wants this, right? This is the first round. The NBA certainly wants this, right? When you look at the first round, like, Cleveland swept the Heat. And the Heat shouldn't even have been there. They got completely outclassed, embarrassed. Jimmy Buckets is back. Playoff Jimmy. Golden State is up 3-1 over the young Rockets. Ant-Man and them. Nas Reed. Yeah, they're up 3-1 over Lakers in 5. No coincidence. Shannon Sharp is in trouble, and them Lakers are in trouble. And, yeah, tonight, Giannis goes home. Done. Pacers win 4-1. And the Celtics advance. Boston, they handle their business. They lost that one game, whatever. They're done. So now it sets up for closeout games tomorrow in the West. And then Thursday, we'll see what happens in the Knicks-Pistons series. If that game 6 happens, Knicks in 6. And also with the Nuggets and Clippers, their series is tied 2-2. They want these series. Some of these series got to go the distance. Some of these series got to go 6, 7. Mike in Kings Park on the Fan. You're up next.
Keith, how are you? Yeah, I'm a little disappointed. They played so sloppy tonight. The turnovers, the missed free throws, just kind of lacked the killer instinct in a closeout game. But I gotta say, I think people are like a little rough on this. Where the Knicks were and where they are now, this has a lot to do with that. Last year they were banged up in that series against the Pacers. I think a healthy Knicks team could have got to the Eastern Conference Final last year. And I just gotta relax a little. We're still in this series. We still have an opportunity to go against the Celtics, and you see what happens.
Yeah, I think we'd be tough on any coach with the way that game ended tonight, though, Mike. Thanks for the call. 888-808-1019. I don't care who it is. Somebody's got some splaining to do. I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's JB Bickerstaff. I don't care if it's Phil Jackson. Like, yo, what happened down the stretch that we didn't have our all-star clutch player, one of the most clutch players ever for the Knicks? Like, I just was hearing how clutch this guy is. Man, during the game, they even flashed how many points he scored in the fourth quarter. But he was hurt, he's tired. He's got to come out. in my chat, my one of my boys in my chat just says Alexander said, "Yo, this Jalen Brunson thing with him always getting hurt in the fourth is getting ridiculous. Like, can we just play the fourth out without the theatrics of always like he's got to come out and then this thing happens where you don't know if he's coming back in or is he coming back in with the cape on to save the day or is he compromised?" And even Tibbs said that in the post game. He didn't know if they were coming back in or out. So were you potentially thinking that it was wraps, like they weren't coming back in, and then 2 minutes comes and you're like, they get back up. You're like, all right, we're gonna try and get you back in, but I'm not gonna smoke my last time out. Tick 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 tick. Game over. Zach out in Lakewood. Hello, you're on the fan.
Yo, what's going on, Keith? I just came back from watching the game with all my boys, Doobie, Curly, Boss, Lois, kicking off. And all my friends are after, they're like, Knicks, the whole entire season, we're getting banged up, we're getting bullied out here. In MSG, we're getting bullied. What the hell is going on? Getting bullied. This team was no shiestas 2 years ago, and we're getting bullied from this team. We have Brunson, we have a much higher apparel than these guys. What's going on?
What's going on? Jalen Duren, Sword Thompson, Tobias Harris is from LI. Tobias Harris is a native New Yorker, and very early in that game, he came out looking like one. He goes out there and scores 17 points. I should have bet him for his three prop. He hit 3 threes. So, when this is what you faced tonight. You faced a team that had their backs against the wall. You faced a team that won 14 games last year and added 30 to that this year. And they really do believe that like they have a special team and it's Detroit versus everybody and they're the bad boys part 2 and that they got jobbed in the last game and like they have a way about them. You're facing a team that wasn't going for it tonight. They weren't willing to die tonight. They're not good. Like they're not that good. They're doing this without Beef Stew, Isaiah Stewart. They're doing this with a motley crew of veterans, cast-offs, and young guys who are just kind of making their name in the league. But they're tough, they're scrappy, and they've lived to fight another day. 888-808-1019. Ray is in Babylon on the fan next. What's up, Ray?
I wonder if the physicality of this game had anything to do with the outcome. Cat got his butt kicked. He was there towards the end of the game, but did you see how bruised up and banged up he was? And the taunting by Thompson? I just felt like almost as if they were just taunting the Knicks and just playing mind games with them. And just like you described Detroit, they were scrappy. They were a motley crew. To say that they're scrappy, I would go as far as to say that they played like punks. A lot of that game was like street ball.
But that's what they do. That's what I'm like. They're not good. They're not a finesse team. They're scratching and clawing. They're trying to bang you around and get you off your rhythm and get you out of your.
And Keith, that's exactly what they did. I mean, Brunson couldn't get anything going tonight. He couldn't make a three-pointer for his life. The only place that we had the Knicks and the advantage was on the with the free throws. That's it. Detroit was terrible on the free throws. I think the next game, Knicks got to come out and just, put these guys in their place. They're the better team, but I just wonder if they got to get more physical. Is that an issue here?
I mean, it depends because, it's game by game, and we talk about how it's being officiated and the whistle and this, that, and the other. Thanks for the call, Ray. The Knicks didn't hit their free throws. That one of the first things I said was you lose by 3 points, and you got to think about shooting 59.3% from the charity stripe. 16 of 27. So you missed 11 shots that were given. They missed 10, and they got to the line more than you. But at the end of the day, like I said, they wanted it more. There's got to be more of a killer instinct there's got to be more of a just like, all right, we're at home. We're not trying to get back on that plane and go to Michigan. And you're not beating us tonight. And it seemed like for most of the game, Detroit was in control. They were dictating how the game was going to go. And they were the ones saying, you're not beating us tonight. All right, let's take another break. When we come back, we'll take the rest of the calls from the Knicks fans. But I know these baseball fans are itching. There's so many baseball fans in New York that don't care about basketball. They want to talk about Carlos Rodon. He was perfect through 5 innings. You know, they want to talk about David Peterson. They want to talk about the Mets bullpen, the Yankees bullpen. They want to talk about both lineups, Luis Angel Acuna and Anthony Volpe and I don't know, Oswald Peraza. We'll do that. This is Keith McPherson, your nighttime host on The Fan. Don't go anywhere. We're coming right back. Yo, you should follow me on this TikTok Discovery Live. What I realized is like when you do the TikTok Live, it brings you up to random people that have never seen you that don't follow you. So I got to do that. What I'm also setting up is my DJ booth. Let me see if I can pull that up for y'all. I'm really trying to get back in the booth this summer. For most of my life, I thought I was going to be a DJ. For most of my life, I thought I was going to be on the radio in New York as a DJ. Even when I went to college and chose my major as radio and television, I was a club DJ, MC, promoter where like I really just like wanted to play. I wanted to play for clubs and play in front of crowds. So let me see if I can show you all this real quick. Let me flip the camera. Flip camera. Boom. Yeah. So right here, bro, I got this little DJ spot in my crib. You see the lights? Yup. So I watch a lot of TikTok lives, and there are people DJing from all over the country all day, every day. And, you know, it's just a cool way to connect with people. And when the weekend comes, if I can find a Friday, Saturday, Sunday vibe where my wife will take my son somewhere and I can just drop beats and talk to people, that's coming up soon. So, look forward to that. But in this chat right now, I'm about to drop my let me see. It's probably easier if I do it like this. If you want to continue watching YouTube or Twitter, been doing these YouTube lives every night. We have 965 people watching on Twitter and YouTube. So I'm going to put the link in here. And if you want to continue watching the show till 2 a.m. or just till 12 or 1, whatever, you can do so right here. So my name is Keith McPherson. If you haven't put that together from the handle, McPherson Brand is my company, LLC, and that is what my YouTube channel is under. So let's go to TikTok on the desktop. And I'll put this in the chat.
See, I didn't know that. Mason's a superstar. No, listen, I didn't know that.
Wait for it. Now I'm going to be in my own live chat here. Wait for it. Now I'm going to be. Okay. Did the link go? Okay, there it is. So yeah, the link is in there now. Yo, Nico, SMD, your weird ass. All right, so yeah, I'm switching off just so I can focus on this one chat. Go to the YouTube or the Twitter. Nico, pull up on me, bro. I'm not hard to find. If I'm what you say I am in the chat, pull up, bro. I'm not hard to find. We can have a chat about it. All right. TikTok, YouTube, Twitter. I'll be over there. Yep. And all right, I had to switch out. But what I want to start doing, because StreamYard doesn't let you go live on TikTok, I want to start doing at least the first little bit of my show on TikTok and then kind of aggregating, getting people over here. See, perfect. Look, Shay Less Podcast. They were just in the TikTok chat and said that. And now they're over here. Also, my phone is going to die, so. Back to the show. They need to listen to some DMX before the game. Keith McPherson on the Fan. All right, back to it. 888-808-1019. The Knicks lose. But it's the second loss of the series. Second loss at the Garden. That's the only place that these young Pistons can get a win. It's deflating. It's not what you want. Your hopes are to gentlemen sweep, celebrating your own building. There was so much talk about it's been 20-some plus years since the Knicks were able to win a series on their home floor and celebrate in the Garden. Here's another year that won't be happening because that's not going to happen in the next round. Well, actually, I don't know. It could happen Game 7. But why stress yourself out with a Game 7? Why go through all that? Could have just did it tonight. Where was Brunson? We didn't get to see Captain Clutch put the cape on at the end of the game. Why can't they just have a good third quarter and make the fourth quarter less stressful? Mark is in California on the Fan. What's up, Mark? Marquis, West Side. There he is.
So it looks like the Knicks traded 5 first-round picks for Alan Crabb.
Shout out to Alan Crabb.
Disgusting, bro. And what's crazy about it is like, listen, bro, not even Brunson, because he was off tonight, and I'm going to give it to him. He has an off night, whatever. But Mikal Bridges shoots 30 shots a game, misses 28, 27 of them, and the 3 that go in are just all jump back 3. That 3 that he took tonight was crazy, but the shot before that, when he just pumped up and he tied the game, then the very next pass, Josh Hart steals it, and he throws the ball down the court. Like,
over Mitchell Robinson's head.
what are you doing? Dude, Mitchell Robinson was on one leg, by the way. He was never going to catch that ball. And then he had another spot in the corner where he just caved away and the ball was just a complete air ball. And he missed 4 shots tonight.
Mikal Bridges is not that guy, man. He's not that dude, man. And I know Nets fans could have told you all that. Like, when the lights are dim, when it's meaningless, like his Iron Man streak is meaningless because he just, will play until he fouls someone and gets out.
I would rather have Timothy Chalamet come off the bench, bro, than
He's got to book his tickets for Detroit. He's got to be out there with Spike.
It's crazy. Knicks have missed, and I've been saying this. I'm not a Kid fan at all. I'm just not. Okay. He did make adjustments with Cap, obviously in Game 2, in Game 3, and Game 4, where Game 2 he was obsolete, and the 3 and 4 kind of just turned around. But how many times a game do you see Jalen Brunson ISO the ball? It makes no sense. He called off Duran with Anobi today, and then he proceeds to hold the ball and then dribble for 5 seconds and turns it over. Like, you're calling off.
Because it's really like it's it's him or Cat. 2 games ago, he got everybody involved. He did not have anything early on in this game. The energy was not right in the beginning of this game. They were tight in the beginning of this game. They were tense in the beginning of this game. They did not come out confident in the beginning of the game. It did not seem like a Knicks team that was coming out there to close them out tonight.
This Pistons game is, to me, is pretty close to unwatchable because these guys have basically been playing tackle football for like literally 4 games. And some of these touchdowns tonight, there's just no consistency to these calls at all. It just seems like when the Knicks are at home, more calls go Detroit's way because obviously in game 4, the debacle was all Knicks. All the calls were Knicks. And now you come out, now it's just like all Detroit. So what's going to happen next game? Is it going to be all Knicks?
We don't know. It's tough on the officials too. They don't know how to call it. They don't want to be saying at the end of the game that they made a mistake. They don't want to be held accountable. They don't want it's tough. They want to let them play because it's the playoffs, but also if you see a foul, call a foul. Yeah, I don't know. It's the human element.
I'm also getting really sick and tired of Knicks fans, bro. Coming out in your last caller was like, oh, where were we a couple years ago? Dude, you need to realize this isn't the first year with kids. This is 5 years of this. And even if the Knicks make it out of this round, depending on how they play against Boston, if they get blown out in those games, I'm still fired at this. Because it's how they play and how they prepare for Boston. Because Boston is a great team. You're not expecting the Knicks to win. But they do a lot of things that match up very well with the Knicks versus Boston. Knicks need to take away the 3 because Boston's one of the best shooting 3s in the game, but they're also prone to foul trouble, which the Knicks are good at. So there's a lot of things that they both do very well. I'm not expecting like a 130-83 blowout, right? But if they lose like 10 points, I'd be like, okay, hats off to the Knicks. They at least fought around. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Tibbs is gonna have to answer some questions. Thanks for the call, Mark. I said I was looking for information during the break, and that third quarter, even without seeing or hearing it, you can just use your eyes. The eye test tells you. And before we go to the next break, I'll read this. This is coming from a Twitter user named Sean. Sean with the W, live from the Mecca Faculty Knicks Film School. I'm going to assume he's credible, and I'm going to assume that these numbers are correct. Knicks third quarter this season. In game 1, they were outscored 36-26. In game 2, they were outscored 20-18. In game 3, they were outscored 30-27. In game 4, they were outscored 20-18. Game 5, they were outscored 28-24. They lose the third quarter. They lose the third quarter every game of the series. Not for nothing, if we actually go back and look at every quarter of this series, they've probably lost more quarters of this series than they've won, yet they still are up 3-2 with a chance to take it in 6. All right, 888-808-1019. I'll say good morning on the other side. We'll start to talk about the Yankees. We'll start to talk about the Mets, and maybe we'll commiserate if any Devils fans want to call in and weigh in on the season that was. Keith McPherson on the Fan, BRB. Yeah. All right, anyway. Yo, if you want me on your podcast, just go to my Twitter or my Instagram and send me an email. And when you send me the email, we can discuss possible dates, and then through Google Gmail, you can set a calendar date. I really don't like doing podcasts, but I've done hundreds of them, I feel like. My own and guest appearance. I've probably done 100 guest appearances. The reason I say I don't like doing them is because I'm busy. I work the night shift, and like, if I'm giving someone an hour of my time out of the day, that's probably taken away from my wife, my son, or myself, or my own show. And like, I think, during the pandemic, people had more free time and people were really doing these like remote guest, StreamYard, Zoom type podcasts. But now that we're back outside, like I don't want to do a podcast unless it's like a studio set. But I've done them. I've done them. Send me some dates and I'll check my schedule. And if I have the time, it can't be an hour, 30 minutes max. And your podcast shouldn't be an hour with me unless you're interviewing me about my entire life. And I've done at least 5 of those podcasts where people are like, so where'd you go to school? And how'd you get into this? And how'd you do this? And where were you work? Like I've done those. And those usually take an hour. But if you just need to talk to me about like the Yankees, the Knicks, the Mets, the Jets, the Giants, I think we can get that in 30 minutes. And I'll do you a solid. Because I'm not bigger than that. But like it's just got to be scheduled. Time is more valuable than money. And when you're me, you're on the radio in the middle of the night, and then you don't go to sleep till 4 in the morning. So then you can't even wake up until 10, 11 a.m. And before you know it, it's afternoon. And before you know it, it's night. My days fly by. And my son and my wife get up at 7. And my REM sleep is interrupted every single night. So I'll do it, but it's just got to be scheduled. It's got to be scheduled usually on a day where I'm on later or like I'm off or just. All right, the baseball conversation's coming. You ever considered play-by-play? Not really. I mean, I've told this story because people have asked about it on air. I sat in for Susan Waldman doing the color commentary. That wasn't my idea. It was a blessing and an opportunity that I am thankful that I had and did, but like I just don't think that's my lane, bro. Like I don't think maybe when I'm older, and even when I'm older, I don't think I'd want to travel with a team or just be like, and no disrespect to people that have done it because we have legends that have done play by play and commentary, and that's been there, like like John Sterling or Howie Rose or Michael Kay or Susan Waldman or Dave Sims or Sam Rosen, but like they also came up in a time where there wasn't so many options. Like that's what you want it to be. Like I don't want to get boxed into like being the voice of a team or just one sport. I like to talk about all the sports. Pretty soon, I'm gonna be talking about the New York Red Bulls. I picked up the Devils.
Excellent.
So I couldn't do play-by-play in school because I played sports. Like in high school and college, the only play-by-play I got reps in. I did Pop Warner football games when I was in high school.
He hasn't been here much, but he left his job, so now he's open to available to work more.
I don't worry about anything, bro. Butt plug mafia. I'm not worried.
Shouldn't waste a second. He's that.
Not worried. Did you see the Yankees tonight? We're about to talk about them. I'm not worried. Nothing to worry about.
Totally fair, but it wouldn't take long. He would pick it up fast. Yes.
Oof.
Good morning at 12 o'clock. I'm Marco Belletti, and this report is brought to you by Mercedes-Benz of Morristown. Knicks haven't closed out a series at home since 1999 as the Pistons stay alive, force a Game 6 with a 106-103 victory at the Garden. Nobody had the hot hand for the Knicks. OG Anunoby led them with 19. Every starter with 15. Jalen Brunson just 4 of 16. He had 16 points. Also appeared to tweak that injured ankle again late in the fourth. Said he was good afterwards. Knicks and Pistons off Game 6 in Detroit Thursday night. Yankees played a little home run derby at Camden Yards. 6 long balls, 2 from Ben Rice, along with 3 straight to open the game. First team to ever do that twice in the same season. They rolled the Orioles 15-3. Carlos Rodon, 6 innings, a 1-run ball, 7 Ks, but an injury concern. Jazz Chisholm left the game with an oblique. Mets top the D-backs 8-3. Pete Alonso, Francisco Lindor, Starling Marte. They all reached the seats, while David Peterson 5 strong. Mets have to play the season, though, without A.J. Minter. It's possible he could need surgery for that injured lat. Final decision expected in the next couple of days. And Devils coughed up a 3-goal lead for the Hurricanes, 5-4 in double overtime. Sebastian Aho, your game winner. Carolina takes the series in 5. 64 degrees, cloudy skies, Central Park. That's happening. I'm Marco Belletti.
Good morning, good morning. We in here easily. April 30th, the last day of the month. Let's go. May Day. It's about to be Cinco de Mayo. And then next thing you know, it's Labor Day. And then it's summertime. Oh, the summertime. Time to sit back and unwind. I need it. I'm ready. I was going through the closet today, like, all right, that's how, even if you're watching my live, that's how I found this Yankees crew that I'm wearing. I'm like, oh, I forgot I even had this. Started moving some of the winter clothes out the way, taking inventory of the summer clothes. I'm like, yo, it's 81 degrees today. We're about to be there. Like Pete Alonso said, be there or be square. The Mets fans are showing up to Citi Field, and they're showing up to see the best team in baseball right now. I'm not going to hold you. They're good. The Mets are good. And they don't even need Juan Soto. Spend all that money on something you don't even need. Don't you hate that? You spend all that money on something you think you need it, and then you end up not even needing it. Now you can't even return it. There's no, whatever. 35,000 go out there tonight, and David Peterson's on the mound. He goes 5 innings strong, 5 hits, 1 run, 2 Ks, with sparkling defense behind him. Everybody chipping in, everybody getting some. Pete Alonso, Lindor, of course, Vientos, Tyrone Taylor, everybody making plays and doing what they're supposed to do. And the bats get going in that second inning and in that third inning. That's where they scored all their runs. 4 in the second, 3 in the third, 1 in the fourth. Damage is done. And everybody gets some. How about the bottom of the order? Tyrone Taylor, 2 hits, 2 ribbies. Azokar, he's hanging around. He contributes with a knock and a ribby. Lindor from the right side of the plate. Bomb. Not a bomb, but homer. For far enough. Not a bomb, but far enough. Pete Alonso. What's Pete Alonso at in the race for the all? I think he's at. I think he's like about 20 away. Pete Alonso with a homer today as he is chasing down history. 233 behind David Wright's 242 and Darryl Strawberry's 252. The Make It Happen Mets. They had another win to their, whatever their record is at home now, I think 13-1. And they had another win to their best record in baseball, 21-9. Still haven't got to double-digit losses. And they do it to a Diamondbacks team that, like, not for nothing, Yankee fans, when the Diamondbacks came here and the Yankees had to face them, we were like, yo, they're pretty good. They're pretty good. I mean, we didn't face Eduardo Rodriguez, who decided to go to Central Park and throw the ball around. Maybe don't do that next time. Maybe don't throw. Maybe don't even play a little catch in Central Park the day before a start. Don't get so comfortable. We had to face Zach Gallen and Corbin Burns, and I think the Mets will see Corbin Burns, or will they see Zach Gallen? I got to go to the scores, but 888-808-1019. We'll start with the Mets. I mean, the Juan Soto thing is interesting. I jokingly say they don't even need Juan Soto, but it is kind of odd, right? And as we will bring in the Yankees to the conversation, like the Yankees start the game off with Trent Grisham, who homers again. And as soon as he does, I'm like, I don't know why I keep betting. I think he's got 3 leadoff homers. When he is leading off, it is worth it to put $25 on Trent Grisham first homer. But Trent Grisham was traded to the Yankees last year with Juan Soto. He was just thrown into the deal. His numbers are better than Juan Soto's this year. He doesn't make anything near what Juan Soto's making. Ben Rice, who took the number 22 jersey off of Juan Soto's back, his numbers are better than Juan Soto's. That young man is going crazy. I mean, tonight, this guy had a bunch. We'll talk Mets first. So, give the Yankee fans a minute to come in. 888-808-1019. Troy is in Ronkonkoma on the Fan. What's up, Troy?
Perfect base and then you got multiple guys adding in like Peter Alonso, Starling Marte, and Lindor going yard. But how much is AJ Minter missing in terms of that bullpen?
I think it's a minor hit, and you just heard Marco with the update, and I was going to speak on it. It's part of baseball. It just sucks. As much as I just said, you spend all that money on Juan Soto and you don't need him. You go out and get AJ Minter and you spend money on him, and you want him to be a big part of your bullpen. And now, he's going to require season-ending surgery. They can always add at the trade deadline, and they can just reshuffle things. And at least you have enough guys that have been effective. How about Jose Butto today? Bounce back 2 innings, scoreless, to make you feel better about him, be more confident in him. I mean, it's
always going to be the answer in the bullpen.
Who?
And I think that Kratnick is a very good answer too.
Yeah, you just got to shuffle things around. You have Reed Garrett. It's tough to lose AJ Minter, but it's early enough in the season where next man up, they could bring somebody in, they could call somebody up, somebody else will move into his spot. But yeah, it's just tough to add a guy like that in free agency to this team to bolster this bullpen, and he doesn't make it through. He makes it through a month of the season.
And before I let you go, what do you think about Soto, like asking for the trainer to come out?
I don't know, man. That's another thing too. I saw that on Twitter because I was listening to the game. I just think even Soto's first strikeout, we got called out on strikes. I just think he's in his head right now. And you know what? He's 26 years old. He's young. I think everything is affecting him right now because he does not look like the player he was. I watched every at-bat last year. I watched him very closely last year because I thought he was going to be a Yankee for the rest of his career. I thought he was staying. I was looking at this dude like this dude is one of the best baseball players I've ever seen. He looks like a shell of himself now. So what do I think about that? I think he's fine. But I just think that yeah, and you know what? I actually bet him the homer tonight because it was a little warmer. I'm like, once he gets the warm weather, maybe he'll come out of it. But there will be a time. It's Juan Soto. There will be a time where he carries the Mets. He has a 2-homer game or he has a walk-off homer. It's just I think he's looking around at this Mets team and how many guys on this Mets team, their relationships are established. They've been around each other for years. The culture in the clubhouse is established. Guys like Pete Alonso and Lindor, they are made men. They've been here. They've done this. And then even some of the young guys, they've been here longer than Juan Soto. Juan Soto was trying to fit in. And Juan Soto came over here as the main attraction, right? He came over here as the highest paid player in the game. And, oh, my God, we got Soto and all of this, hype and adulation and just you know what I'm saying? And it's he hasn't lived up to it. And I feel like that is weighing on him just a little bit.
All right, we're going to keep Knicks in 6.
Knicks in 6. Thanks for the call, Troy. 888-808-1019. Yeah, I'm trying to see if I could pull it up. Juan Soto got hurt. Jazz Chisholm got hurt. Jazz Chisholm's injury was weird. It was he swung and then he raised his hand and then he hit a triple and then he slid and he's got a side injury or something like that. But I'm like, why are you sliding head first like that? And then the triple gets turned into a double with an E9. These scorers, they don't know what's happening in real time. They just like they wait. They need the inning to end. If that would have stood as a triple, the Yankees would have bat around in the first inning and had a cycle in the first inning. Ridiculous game for the Yankees. Historic game for the Yankees tonight. A game that I was kicking myself because I bet a little bit on it. I should have went all in on it. All my parlays were just a little bit short. Like Rodon had 7 strikeouts, not 8. Or in the parlay that I had with Goldie, they took Goldie out. Goldie had 2 bases. I had him getting 3. But like Ben Rice had like 9. Judge, crazy. First team in MLB history to lead off a game with 3 straight home runs twice in the same season. So they made Kyle Gibson look like Nestor Cortez tonight. And Gibby is cooked. Like, just watching him, I'm like, oh, he's throwing batting practice. Like, his velocity, he was throwing fastball like 91, 92. Like, belly took him deep. Trent Grisham, Judge, Ben Rice. Ben Rice hitting behind Judge. As so many Yankee fans started to cry about Judge's protection. Judge never cries about protection. He'll never say a word about who's batting in front of him, behind him. But Yankee fans start crying, we can't have Bellinger batting behind Judge. He's terrible. Even last night when I was on, someone saying, Keith, you were excited about Cody Bellinger being on his team. I still am. Didn't take much to get him. Give him some time. Maybe he gets right after what he, was able to do tonight. Give people time in the game. Give these players some time. We're now in the second month. You know what I'm saying? We're now 30 games in. It's baseball. Speaking about the Mets, like, how about Luis Angel Acuna? For that young man, he's not bored anymore. He's playing on the quote-unquote best team in baseball. He's playing for a team that doesn't lose at home. The lights are bright. He's responding. 2 hits for him tonight. He's sticking around. His average is 300. His OPS is 726. Billy Epler said, thank me later. Went and got this guy. Mark Vientos, Ofer, but, Vientos have picked it up a little bit. Good to see Marte. Marte at DH. He went yard. Wasn't a spot for him. They were supposed to trade him. He's doing what he can. Pete Alonso is doing damage where Evan and Tiki are already having the conversation about his upcoming free agency after a month. We're already talking about, and I know, Steve Cohen was asked about it and they played that audio too. Long way to go here, but good for Pete. I always felt like Pete was going to perform like this after what he just went through. A down year, and then a great postseason, and then an offseason where there wasn't really any interest in him. They put the qualifying offer on him, and no teams in baseball are going to really bid against Steve Cohen. And so Steve Cohen gave him the bag, and now he's got more money than he's ever had. He doesn't have to worry about it. And he's got the kid on the way. Good for Pete Alonso, man. He has been ridiculous to start this year. He's up there with everybody. Now this year, he's looking like an all-star. Give it another good month, and then the voting happens. He'll be right back there. Atlanta's going to be lit this year. I got to start looking into that. I didn't go last year. I forget why. Probably because of my baby. But I'm going this year in the A because it was supposed to be in the A in 2021 when they moved it to Colorado. But there were some things going on with some politics, and I don't even know. I'm going to Atlanta for the All-Star game this year. You can bet on that. 888-808-1019. We're still talking Mets. David Peterson continues on. A 3.06 ERA. 6'6 David Peterson. Looking like he's picking up from where he left off last year. I already mentioned Jose Butto. You know I haven't mentioned yet? Kevin Hergert. Jersey. Kevin Hergert from Teaneck, New Jersey, by way of Kane University, excuse me. I got to act like I've been there. I have. My aunt actually works at Kane University. It's spelled Keen like bean with a K, but it's pronounced Kane. He got to pop in for the Mets today. Local guy. I wonder if he grew up a Yankee fan or a Met fan. Either way, Jersey guy getting to play for the local team. Lou is up in Boston on the Fan in New York. Hello, Lou.
Hey, yeah, love your show. Wanted to say a couple things. I'm from Brooklyn originally, so I'm a Knicks, but a Mets fan. So excited about the Mets. And I hope that Juan Soto is not the next Bobby Bonilla. I can't believe I'm saying it, but boy, he is off to a really bad start.
It's odd. It is honestly odd because he's 26 years old. He's not going to be Bobby Bonilla. You've got 15 years, but just the first month of 15 years, this has got to be one of his worst months in recent time. Like, he's just not himself. He's got 3 homers. I think Lindor has twice as many. Alonso definitely has more. Like, he had 41 bombs last year.
I know. So I played at one point. Boy, it can get in your head. I'm sure that's what it is. I hope he comes out of it. The only other thing I wanted to say is an old timer, a real old head. I haven't heard anybody give Dick Barnett his flowers. Maybe nobody even remembers who he is. You remember? You couldn't remember him, but
No, I don't remember him, but rest in peace. Nobody on WFAN has brought up Dick Barnett.
I don't listen every minute, but anybody who's an old timer like me will remember that those Knicks were great teams, and Barnett was just a fabulous band.
I know I saw the news on Twitter a couple days ago, and maybe nobody took the time to say rest in peace to Dick Barnett and condolences to his family. Hall of Fame New York Knick and champion, as we are watching these current Knicks and we're in the playoffs. Yeah.
And I agree. I don't think Tibbs is going to make it through because I think they're going to get blown out by Boston. And I think it is time to move Tibbs off. I'm not exactly sure what he is. He reminds me of more of an old-time coach who he's stuck in some of his ways. And the Knicks need a new face. They just need a new face to be talking to him. I don't know who that's going to be.
It's how it goes. Like, they just have hit a wall. And like I said, for him to not use a timeout, leave 2 of your best players off the court in crunch time in a closeout game at home, and then tell the media it was a coach's decision and not give us more clarity, more detail, more of your thoughts in that moment of why that happened. I don't know. It's just not a good look.
And I think he is being outcoached.
I don't know. I mean, neither one of them are doing a bang-up job. These games have been close. They just did not execute tonight. Thanks for the call, Lou. 888-808-1019. Going back to the Knicks conversation, the captain of the team doesn't want the coach fired. These players don't want the coach fired. This era of the Knicks is Tom Thibodeau. I think they're going to go to Detroit and win. I said Knicks in 6 from the jump. History repeats itself. They couldn't close out at home last year. They haven't had a closeout game at home in like 25 years. So it is what it is. There's something about that air in the Garden. I always say that. You guys know what I'm talking about? When you go to the Garden, it's just like they pump a different kind of air in there. Sometimes it's good for the Mecca, but like it works for the other team too. The other team is playing their ass off in there too. Like, there's something about the Garden, like everybody goes in there and they're on one. And the Knicks aren't able, like, home court advantage. That's been the Pistons' home court advantage. Your home court is an advantage to them. They've won more games in New York than you. So go back to their building and then sweep them in their building and end it on their floor and make sure that your coach is good, because they're not going to fire the coach, losing to the Celtics. You lose to the Pistons, got to go. 888-808-1019. The Mets defeat the Diamondbacks. I think the Diamondbacks are without Ketel Marte. I said I wanted to look at the scores and look into who they will face pitching-wise, because like when the Yankees face the Diamondbacks, yes, they will face Corbin Burns. Like I thought tomorrow, that's going to be a challenge. Corbin Burns is like that, and I think Corbin Burns still has an axe to grind with the man from Milwaukee, David Stern. So maybe he wants to show David Stern something. Like, bro, this is why you should have paid me twice. 888-808-1019. And then you will see Zach Gallen May 1st at 1:10. Zach Gallen versus Kodai Senga in the third game. and Corbin Burns coming up tomorrow. So good that the Mets got this win off of Eduardo Rodriguez. But like I said, everything is clicking for the Mets, especially at home. It is not just the offense. It is the defense and the pitching. It is all three facets of the game. And if you're a Met fan right now, to hell with Juan Soto for now. You know, he's like Mr. Irrelevant. Obviously, you know, like I said, he's here for 15 years and it's the first month of it. But like him struggling, so what? You're a Mets fan. You're not a Juan Soto fan. Your owner spent all that money to get Juan Soto. But like, I also think that galvanized the team. I know it definitely galvanized the fan base. A lot of these tickets that are sold, the fact that the Mets are able to put 35,000 plus in all of these games so far at home, a lot of that is off the strength of Juan Soto. A lot of that is on the back of we got Soto. The Yankees didn't. We took a Yankee that helped them get to the World Series and put him on our team. And now he's on your team. Imagine the converse. Imagine the opposite. Imagine you have him on your team and he is performing and you're not winning. You'd be like, so what? So I think you're actually in the better situation. Let's go to Inglewood and talk to Dan on the fan. What up, Dan?
How are you, Keith?
Good.
First, I just wanted to say something about Dick Barnett. He used to have the most unique free throw style. It's, today the guys stand there with their 2 feet next to one another. They bounce the ball. They kind of put the ball up. But he used to keep 1 foot behind the other, almost like he was doing a ballet step. And he shot. He was a lefty shooter, and he always, he just had this great style. And he was like a 90% free throw shooter. Just amazing. I mean, how could somebody keep their balance when they're doing that? It was just fascinating. But the other thing I wanted to say was the gentleman was asking about who's going to replace A.J. Minter. Gary Cohen said today that the Mets signed Brooks Raley, who was a really good lefty from the bullpen for a couple of years till he needed Tommy John surgery last year.
Oh, okay.
He potentially would be ready. Gary was saying like June or July.
So, yeah, I'm looking at the article now. Raley recovering from Tommy John surgery returns to the Mets. Yeah, you got options. You got options that are ready right now. It's not like you're hurting for anything. It's not like, AJ Minter goes down and you lose your biggest weapon. But it's baseball. There's going to be injuries, especially with these pitchers, and it's next man up. And there's more than enough next guys up on this Mets team to pick up the slack.
They were making the comment actually also about I forgot who they were talking about. I guess maybe it was the Diamondbacks general manager. They were talking about him as not planning. They didn't think they would need extra pitchers because who thinks the pitchers are going to get injured? But every single one of them gets injured at one point or another.
Yeah, it's inevitable. They're wailing their arms as hard as they can multiple times. Yeah.
So anyway, that's all I had. I wish you a good night, sir.
Thanks for the heads up on Brooks Raley. You have a good night as well, Dan. 888-808-1019. In my notes, also, RIP, Seymour Wiener. Mets fans know. I saw that, and I was like, I can't even include Seymour Wiener in my jokes about the Mets gimmicks and all the things that the Mets have going on right now, right? Remember last year they had Seymour Wiener show up to the game. I don't know what he was there. I think he's a veteran, but the Mets don't do the veteran of the game like seventh inning like Yankees do. But he was there, and I think he was honored. And then they did kind of like a play on like the hot dogs, and then they had the night where they ate all the hot dogs, sold a bunch of hot dogs, and then they had the counter with how many hot dogs were being eaten, the glizzy gobblers in Queens, how many glizzies were being attacked. And then that turned into the Rally Pimp, and then that turned into Grimace, and then that turned into Hawk Tua Girl, and then that turned into Oh my God. And then a playoff pumpkin, and then Candelita was performing on Apple TV Friday Night Baseball, and then they were doing the Spank. They were doing the Spank the Air hit Selly. Now they do the wheels on the bus with the uppercut. I mean, the Mets, man, and the Mets got like their marketing team and their actual team, they got 100 things. They come up with a bunch of different things. Can't knock it. Can't knock it. It's not all my style, but do you. If it fits you, it suits you. Clearly, it's working. The Mets have their best 30-game stretch since 2006. 21-9. They're rolling. And we're rolling as well. Josh is in Passaic, back on the Fan. What you thinking about, Josh?
Oh, Keith, how you doing? Nice going, man.
I'm all right. Minus the Devils season ending like that. I was really like, man, if they can force this game 6, do I go to Jazz Chisholm basketball jersey night, or do I try and go to the Rock? Because last weekend I went to, Yankees hockey jersey night and I didn't go to the Rock, and that would have been the best night to go to the Rock all season.
Right, just putting the flowers down the season. I mean, we really did this a few months ago when Jack Hughes went down, and it was good to see them put a fight up. But at the end of the day, you can clearly see the Hurricanes when the Devils are minus Hughes. There's a much better team, and it's like scary is that we always think of the Devils as like the fastest team. They're getting out hustled by this team, and Markstrom played well during the series. The dude's on under fire. Every other minute, there's another 5 shots coming up. And as we mentioned, the big thing the Devils did when they were winning the games was that they outshot teams by 20, 25 shots. And, with seeing those players, with seeing the defensemen, it just really happened for this series. And, the real hardest part is that, the years where you do best are after you do your rebuild, and you don't really have to extend the great young guys you have. And it's like those 3-4 years, and it's starting to get where the cap space is pretty much is not too much free space at all, and you're just gonna have to keep extending these guys, and we have to see what they do during the offseason. But right now, not looking too bright. But always look.
They're gonna make a trade for Quinn Hughes. Once they make that trade for Quinn Hughes, it's lit.
Oh, yeah, then it's 5 Stanley Cups. I mean, that was sick. A lot. You feel like the Tinkle brothers, but like it's only one guy that actually does anything.
It'd be like having I don't know, like not even having LaMelo Ball and LiAngelo Ball. Like it'd be like having, I don't even know. There's no comparison to having those 3 guys, Luke Hughes, Jack Hughes, Quinn Hughes, all on the same team.
Right, and the good part is that you can put the flowers down on the Bucks team that being good. The Giannis who beat, even though when he beat the Nets years ago, and that's just been the team that we just started hating. Looks like they're done now. So don't gotta watch that team anymore.
Yeah, there's a lot of Brooklyn Nets fans politicking for Giannis to come to Brooklyn, and I'll tell you right now, no thanks.
Devastating 3 days for the Bucks between Lillard going down, taking that hell, and then tonight where they blew like 8-point lead in like 30 seconds.
Yeah, I didn't catch much of that game. I honestly did not see.
I saw the highlights. I didn't have patience to actually watch that game live.
Tonight was a crazy night, dude. I'm in my apartment listening to the Mets game, watching the Yankee game, watching the Devils game, watching the Knicks game. There was a point at 8:00 where I'm like, too much is happening. At 8:00, the Yankees were up 10-0, the Mets were up 7-0, the Devils were up 3-0. I think the Knicks were losing, but it was like all at once.
Yeah. Fight the fielding, but I don't like that Kong Soto. Like Soto's not batting like 130, 250. Obviously, it's much worse.
It's about the money. It's about the money, and it's not going to be that at all. Like the Mets. That's why I tried to give a nod to like the ticket sales and the jersey sales and the merch and all those Amazing Day sales, Mets house sales, where they're like auctioning off a Juan Soto bat and Juan Soto pins. Like the Mets have already gotten a pop from signing Juan Soto. Now you're just waiting for the pop in his bat. And I don't know what the hell is up with the guy. Like, I don't know how he only has 3 homers. I don't know how he's not, I don't know. I just think it's a lot on him. I think it's a lot weighing on him, and it's different for him. And it's different because there has been this chase for years. There's been this robotic way of going about business because he knew, I'm going to free agency. I'm not going to be a National. I'm not going to be a Padre. I'm not even going to be a Yankee. I'm going to free agency. So I got to do everything I got to do to get to free agency and be as shiny and as attractive and the best baseball player I can with the best back of the baseball card. Now that he's there, it's like that part of his life is done.
And the worst part, giving Yankees fans have tons of videos of him, now making like brutal plays.
But so what? Like, but so what? They I've kind of I like to troll. That's that's what you do on the internet.
Giving you a lot right now.
But I'm not even trolling because the Yankees have their own issues. Like we got beat by the Royals 2 days ago with Will Warren on the mound, and I was mad about it because it's just like we don't have enough pitching. So as a Yankee fan, if you're really worried about Juan Soto at this point, 30 games in, it's about to be May. It's gonna be May. Like I'm just over it. I don't care. I don't care that Juan Soto dropped the pop up or didn't field or struck out. Like it doesn't do anything for me. What would do something for me involves the Yankees. If he drops a pop up against the Yankees, great. Him not seeing a pop up against the Nationals, I saw the highlight. I'm like, I don't even care to troll. We got our own issues. The Mets have a better record than the Yankees.
And you gotta give credit to them after having a devastating loss on Sunday, brutal loss where they blow that lead and they come back. They put up 19 runs. They put a nice run. They put another 8 up tonight. And this is what contenders do because they don't let one game just kick them down and then play like Matt after. They came back hard, but just I want to get one last thing in. I know we kind of moved, we're not still in the Shador conversation, but I just missed one thing from last night. I find it so funny how Stephen A. calls it collusion. Like someone tells this guy to take his political head and stick it in a bucket. Don't bring it to sports. Collusion. This guy thinks he's always talking politics. Brings in talking about two countries. Like, come on. Well, whatever.
It's just irresponsible of him. Thanks for the call, Josh. I said it last night. For Stephen A. Smith to have the platform that he has and make as much money as he has talking sports, like it makes me look. I'm like, man, how I could do what he does today. Collusion, and then to make the Shador Sanders thing seem like the Colin Kaepernick thing. They're not alike at all, outside of the fact that they both play the quarterback position, and this is the NFL. That's ridiculous. Be more responsible with your platform, and also just use your brain. Think. The owners in the NFL aren't collusion. There's no collusion. The NFL draft is a competition. They're all competing for assets, and they're all thinking about their own money and systems and locker rooms and who they're bringing in, who they're not bringing in. You think that the owners all got together and said, we're gonna keep Deion Sanders' kid out? No. That's so stupid. 888-808. You know why Josh brought it up. It's just so dumb. So dumb to think that these NFL owners, these billionaires, are plotting to keep out a 23-year-old quarterback and Deion Sanders. No. Now, did some of them take him off of the board like Boomer had said? I said, yeah, over-under set at 2.5. I think there might be 2 or 3 owners that might have gone and said take him off the board. But you got to do the math on how many teams drafted quarterbacks that had the need. I'm not talking about the 49ers taking who the 49ers take, the kid out of Indiana. I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about, the 49ers drafting Rourke. I'm blanking on his name. Curtis Rourke out of Indiana in the 7th round. That's not it. Anyway, we're still talking Mets. When we come back, I'll lean more into the New York Yankees. This is Keith McPherson on the Fan Dial, 888-808-1019 if you'd like to get involved. We'll be back right after this. All right, let me close some of these tabs and then tap in with y'all on the chat. I'm glad that there's other sports going on and there's so many things to talk about, because I was doing the I think I'll do Big Shot of the Night at 1, but I was doing out of town scoreboard, and I was doing Tell Me Something Cool. But every night there's not always something cool to tell you. And yeah, so with other things to talk about, we don't got to reach. The out of town scoreboard just doesn't hit on the radio, in my opinion. So yeah, actually, I had that in my note. Roster moves. Left-handed pitcher Brooks Raley has signed a 1-year contract with a club option. Sean Manaea has been transferred to the 60-day IL. Kevin Hergert was recalled from AAA. Jose Urena designated for assignment. I want to see this. What the hell is it, like haunted people in the? Let me see. There were like zombies at the stadium. People do the most. I want to see this clip of Soto calling for the trainer. I want to see because I was listening to the Met game. You can't watch 4 games. I was watching a hockey game, a football, or a hockey game, a baseball game, and a basketball game. All right, so this is a Yankee box score. Where's the Yankee box score? Let me go new tab, MLB.com. All right, and then we will talk about the Yankees when we come back. We'll probably keep talking about the Knicks. Probably done talking about the Devils. They fought hard though, man. Almost did it without Jack. And what is this? Who? Somebody sent me Yankee tickets? What? Somebody sent me Yankee tickets for the Padres series, and I'm like, who? Hey, I figured you could put these to use. Who is this from, bro? Yeah, I'm gonna accept these tickets, but I'm not sure who. I'm not sure exactly who this is from. Let me see something here. Somebody send you tickets. You take them tickets, and then you ask questions after. I'm trying to figure out who. It's like not for nothing. I don't have a problem getting tickets. I used to. It's like it's not like, I don't know. I accepted the tickets hoping that it would show me like the person's last name. Another one bites the dust. Another one bites the dust. And another one gone. And another one gone. And another one bites the dust. Hell yeah. That's not how the song go. Anyway, Keith McPherson on the fan. 888-808-1019. Talking about the sports and the sports and the sports. If you watch sports and listen to the sports talk radio station, call up and join the show. We opened up talking about we are the New York Knicks. Go New York, go New York, go. No, but actually go. Like actually go out there and go, especially after halftime. Can you go? Can you act like this is a closeout game? No, Tom, go. Send them. Put them in the game, bro. Go. The clock is running. So back to Detroit for game 6. And then if the Knicks actually go and play and, have the same intensity they did in the last 2 games in Detroit, Knicks in 6, and I'll be correct on that. And then they advance to round 2, and we'll see what the Celtics got. 888-808-1019. Still taking calls on the Knicks. If you got something you want to get off your chest, if there's something that popped up, let's have at it. Started talking about the Make It Happen Mets. Yes, it's real. The Mets are good. Yes, it's real. The Mets have the best record in baseball. Their starters have the lowest ERA in baseball. They played crazy defense in the 4th inning. Just like improbable defense. They have a lot of talent. They have guys that can run. They've got guys that can hit. They've got guys that can throw, field. Like, they have a lot of good players. And they have a good manager. And they have a good president of baseball operations and a rich owner. And they're killing it. So much that I guess they've killed some of their fans. There were zombies in the stands. As I'm looking at stuff on Twitter, I'm like, why are all these haunted, mummy-looking zombie Dawn of the Dead? What is this? These are night walkers? What are these people? What are these people doing? You come to the Bronx looking like that, you might get snubbed. You might get hit. These people are pulling up. It's not Halloween. It's late April. These people are pulling up looking like the Crypt Keeper. Anyway, 888-808-1019 if you want to talk about David Peterson and the Make It Happen Mets. Happy birthday, Taurus season. Gary Cohen. It's his birthday, or it was yesterday. And it was Anthony Volpe's birthday, and it was Judge's birthday, and JC Escara's birthday. They all contributed to the Yankees win tonight. Carlos Rodon, let's start there. Carlos Rodon's got a .95 ERA in his last 3 starts. He was perfect through 5. He gives up a walk to start the 6th, and that's the first base runner allowed, and I'm immediately in my notes writing, how will he respond? Let's all watch. The next batter, former Yankee farmhand, as they like to say, Jorge Mateo. You guys remember seeing him in spring training. Jorge Mateo doubles off the right field wall. And I'm like, mound visit. I'm looking at Rodon, and he's got this look on his face where he looks like he's telling himself, like, shrug it off. Don't worry. No, don't matter. No matter. No big deal. So what? We went back to back and a belly to belly to belly. So what? We've got a huge lead. But, he ends up getting out of the inning, and then they try to push him to the next inning, and Gunnar Henderson takes him deep, and you pull the plug there because you don't want to mess up his ERA. You don't want to mess up his confidence. How about that, Yankee fans? 888-808-1019. Carlos Rodon has a .95 ERA in his last 3 starts. He has turned a corner. He has got it together, it seems. He has figured it out some. He is not unraveling. He is not, letting his emotions get the best of him. He is starting to overcome things. And we absolutely need that right now when you can't depend on Will Warren. You're not sure what you're going to get out of Carlos Carrasco. Clark Schmidt is the same thing. It's Max Fried and Carlos Rodon, and that's why they pay them the big bucks. 888-808-1019. Ian Hamilton, appreciate you. Tyler Matzek, get some work. Keep working. And the rubber match is set up. The rubber match is set up for tomorrow, and the Yankees better win it. This will be another series that I'll feel like, after they do win tomorrow. Well, it's today now, April 30th. I'll feel like they should have swept another division rival. I'll feel like they should have swept Tampa. They should have swept the Blue Jays, and they should have swept the Orioles. The Yankees division is not good. The Orioles are trash. They couldn't field. They couldn't make routine plays tonight. I was laughing. I'm like, this is the Orioles I know. Homer after homer. This is the Camden Yards, the Oriole Park at Camden Yards, I know, before they decided to build a ballpark and change the dimensions and push the walls back and make walls higher. Right? The word on the Orioles were that they struggle against left-handed pitching. Well, they struggled mightily tonight. 888-808-1019 before we start talking about all the hitters and all the records and all of the runs and home runs and bases that were collected. Let's get back to the phones and continue to talk about the Metsies. Dan is out on Long Island. Dan, you're on the Fan.
Good early morning. It's happy to finally speak to you, man. I was at the Knicks game tonight. I just want to make a quick point or two about that, talk about the Mets as well. But yeah, you talk about the air in the Garden. It was palpable, but then slowly the game just got away from the Knicks. It was so unfortunate, the fouls, and you get your big men in foul trouble, and the air was completely out of the building. And you talk about this too, like the way I see it, even if they get past the Pistons, which I think they will, I'm still scared for this, and because he's here all the time, he's a defensive coach, and this is an offensive team. I just feel like a change of scenery could be needed, similar to the Mets and Buck Showalter. And I just look at maybe his time being done with the Knicks, but finish out the series with the Pistons, look to Boston, and hopefully they're competitive. And then about the Mets too, like one of the calls before talking about Bobby Bonilla and Soto. I mean, the furthest thing from the truth, the way I see it. 250 average. He's doing what he needs to do. Is it great? No. Is his defense great? No. But the Mets are still the best team in baseball, and I think that's the scary thing to me, Keith, when I look at the Mets. And I'm a Mets fan. I look at this team and I just say, whenever Soto really gets going, the weather warms up. I mean, the sky's the limit for this team. And also, talk on the Fan today too. Evan and Tiki brought that up with the Alonso free agency thing. I thought that was very interesting. But BT and Sal were talking about the 5-year window for Soto and how if he opts out, it's like see you later. I'm not at that point yet, but if 5 years from now, Keith, if we have a ring, I'm okay with Soto walking out the door. But that's such a far away to have that conversation.
Yeah, I don't ever do that. I can't do that on my show. I'm a solo host, so I can't come in here and bounce off the idea of like these future things with someone else. Like I got to stay in the moment. I don't even get that much time. Like my shows are like 3 hours. I try to stay focused on what happened today, tonight. I can't think about what Pete Alonso's free agency is going to look like or Juan Soto opting out. Why would Juan Soto want to opt out? You got the richest owner in the sport. They structured his contract so that they can give him more AAV. Why are we even on that? Like, he's going to hit. I'm so sure that there's going to come a stretch, and I'll be on this station and on my live, and I'll be like, didn't I tell you he's going to have a game where he hits 2 home runs and he wins the game for the Mets? Didn't I tell you he's going to have a week where he hits 4 or 5 home runs and he's going crazy? Like, it's just a matter of time. It's who he is. But like you said, when you look at this Mets team and the fact that they have him and don't really need him, they're not relying on him. They're not like, you're not longing for Juan Soto to save the day. That's a great position to be in. Lindor has been money. Pete Alonso has been worth every dollar of the money that they gave him. And you have so many, like when I said before, they've got guys that can run. I saw the video of Luis Angel Acuna running. Like, that's athleticism. Tyrone Taylor running down that ball in center field. Like, you need athleticism like that. You have young athletic players mixed in with veteran players, guys that are clutch and that are leaders like Lindor and Alonso. And then the pitching, there's a lot of no names or like lower name. Like, you don't have the Corbin Burns or Zach Gallons of the world, but the Mets have the lowest ERA out of their starting rotation. So that's a credit to your pitching lab as well. They've got the manager, they've got the president of baseball operations, they've got obviously the scouting department and the development. Like, things have changed. It's so obvious to see that Steve Cohen, in 5 years on the job, like he's doing what he set out to do. The last part of it is to get to the postseason, get to the World Series, and like you said, win a ring. And you won't care about what Juan Soto is doing or not doing or opting out. It's about winning a championship.
That's it. And the pitching has been the big plus. I mean, the bullpen, he talked about it before with the Minter going down, and Raley's an option, but you do have guys in the minor league, not to bore anyone, but Anthony Go's pitching well. So they have internal options, even though they're not the shiniest names in the world. But I think the Mets, I'm not even worried about the bullpen, Keith. Truthfully, I'm more concerned about the starting rotation and how long can they continue to keep this up. Griffin Canning pitching well. Like, I'm a little skeptical there, but overall, I can't really complain.
Sean Manaea, Frankie Montas, take your time. All is well so far.
I hope Soto doesn't get going against the Yankees in a couple of weeks. You know, save it for before or after.
No, that's how the script is going to be written. I'm right there with you with that. Thanks for the call, Dan. Like, won't that be exactly it? Won't there be a 2-homer game in the Bronx where Juan Soto wins? That maybe that's the rubber match in the 3-game set. Maybe that's the Sunday game. I hate to speak it into existence, but if I'm speaking it into existence for Met fans and Yankee fans to hear, and I'm correct, I'll get props for that. 888-808-1019. Wouldn't it be poetic for Juan Soto to return to Yankee Stadium, where I watched him ball out last year, and he has a breakout series? I just know it's going to happen now. It's almost May. It's gonna be May. What can I do? I forget how that. Every little thing I do. You guys used to listen to NSYNC. We all did. It was on TRL. We all did. Backstreet Boys, NSYNC. We all listened to it. Don't front. Don't front. Anyway, 888-808-1019. I wouldn't be worried about Juan Soto. You know what's funny? Last year, the best player in baseball, Aaron Judge, he had the slowest month we ever saw him have. And there was a lot of worry, a lot of panic. I remember going to the game Cinco de Mayo weekend. I think it was May 4th. I think May 3rd, Judge got his first ejection. I think May 4th, Tarek Skubal was pitching in Yankee Stadium. It was Tigers versus Yankees. It was raining. I was in Legends. And I was just like, well, at least I'm in Legends. But like when Judge was batting, I'm like, whatever, we got to come out. And I called it and I didn't bet it. Shout out to my boy Zeke. Judge hit the homer. I turned around. I looked at Zeke. Zeke just hugged me. He's like, yo, you called it. I'm like, he's going to start to go on a tear. Because he got tossed, he's going to be mad at the baseball world. He took Tarek Skubal deep, and then he started to go off on his run. But you know what? Juan Soto was there in April. So Juan Soto did pick up some of the slack. And when you think about like the Yankees lineup last year compared to this year, there was no one in it. Alex Verdugo, Anthony Rizzo. Gleyber Torres was struggling last year in the beginning of the year. Like, we tried to have Gleyber lead off. That wasn't going so well. Now we have Trent Grisham as a leadoff hitter. Who would have thought? Trent Grisham, good for another leadoff homer. I think his third leadoff homer. Ben Rice, young Ben Rice, who went from AA to AAA to like popping up on the scene last year when Rizzo got hurt. And now this year it's like, well, damn, this kid figured it out fast. He hits the ball hard. He can really hit. He hits the ball and they stay hit. Good to have him. Cody Bellinger, good to have you as well. I know Yankee fans are ready to throw you out, but these Yankee fans are mad annoying. Twitter sucks. Yankee Twitter is the worst. What's the greatest rivalry in baseball? Yankee fans versus other Yankee fans. We agree to disagree. I don't think a lot of Yankee fans like the team. I know they don't like the manager. I know they don't like the general manager or the owner, but I don't think they like the team. I don't even know if they like Judge. I had a video at Whistle Sports that we recorded March 7th. They drop it on Judge's birthday. And my dude Adam, who's the host, is like, how do you think Yankee fans feel about Judge? And honestly, the noise was so loud in the offseason that I was like, I don't know, it's 50-50. I love the guy. I think he's great. I think he's the best player I've ever seen. But some Yankee fans will tell you he could hit 70 homers in the regular season. They don't care until he does it in October. I mean, now you're not saying that. Now that's, your tune has changed from being mad at Judge after the World Series for dropping a pop-up because he's batting .412. He's got 9 homers. He's got the highest OPS. He's got the most RBI. It's ridiculous. Paul Goldschmidt, Goldie Knox. Paul Goldschmidt, he's not done. People told me he was washed, he was old. He's batting .363. He's good for a couple hits a game. He'll get the bat to ball any way he's got to swing it, any angle to get to it. Bro, I'm telling you, I'm so mad at Pablo Reyes. I had a parlay, and nobody cares about your parlay, but it's my show, so I'm gonna tell you about my parlay. Maybe you had a similar one. I had Goldie for 3 total bases, Judge for 4 total bases, Ben Rice for 4 total bases. Judge and Rice were good. Goldie got taken out of the game, and Ascara goes to first base, so he didn't get the last at bat. But his at bat prior to against Charlie Morton, he gets a hit, but it ends up being a fielder's choice. You know why? Because stupid Pablo Reyes wants to run and not slide. If he slides, he's probably safe. That turns into a single. That turns my $10 parlay into $463. Pablo Reyes, get down or get off the team, bro. Get down or get off the team, bro. You're smoking parlays because you want to be out there lollygagging because the Yankees are up like 14 runs. 888-808-1019. He's probably gone when DJ comes back. They love Peraza too much to just kick him to the curb. Even though I did have this conversation about Reyes being able to play right field, I've never seen Peraza in the outfield. DJ's on the way back, and as soon as DJ's back, I'm telling you, they're going to throw him in there. 888-808-1019. We're up against it. We got a break. We'll do Big Shot in the 1 o'clock hour. Stay with us. Keith McPherson on the Fan. I'll be back right after this. All right. Yeah, we'll queue up the Big Shot for the. What's up, Fleeks? First off, hello. We'll queue that up for the 1 o'clock hour here. This is like, bro. Why is there always these like dumb trends on the internet? Why are we talking about killing gorillas? You can't do that. That's a crime. You can't kill. You guys forgot about Harambe? Like, I don't know, 100 men versus a gorilla. Like, that's 100 charges, bro. You can't. Like, I hate that the internet comes up with these dumbass things every so often. There's these dumb things that pop up. Is the dress blue or gold? Have you seen the crate challenge? People stacking crates and walking up crate. Like, it's just like this. I don't have time for the dumb shit. I got better things going on. I've got more important things to focus on. Carlos, what's up, man? Good to see you in there. Levi says 100 men. What 100 men though? 100 Marines? Or just like 100 guys sitting in section 130 at Yankee Stadium? Like, I might take the gorilla because like a lot of you guys are soft. You wouldn't fight a dude that nah. Once you actually see that gorilla grab one of these dudes, then you're backing off. Will G, what up, Will? Hector, I might go Friday's game versus the Rays. Will you be there? Versus the Rays? Is that this Friday for Jazz Chisholm bobblehead? Or Jazz Chisholm jersey? I don't know. Like I said, somebody just randomly sent me tickets. They're from Anthony. I could probably name 10 different Anthonys. But then it doesn't say the last name, and the note says, figure you would know what to do with these. I'm like, yeah, of course. You send me Yankee tickets, I'm either going to use them or give them to somebody that I know is going to go. Like, if you could see my Ticketmaster history, the amount of tickets I've transferred or given away to people is hundreds. I don't know the schedule enough. I guess we're playing the Rays. So yeah, Hector. I was actually debating. I was like, if the Devils won tonight, I would have to go to Game 6 at the Rock. But that's not an option anymore. Don't gotta worry about that. So yeah, Friday, May 2nd, Jazz Chisholm Jr. basketball jersey night against the Rays. Will he be healthy? Will he be back in the lineup tomorrow? Do you have the Real Sports app with Brian Gumbel? No. What's the Real Sports app? I don't have that app. I try to limit the apps on my phone, to be honest. It's too many. My wife has 1,000 apps and like folders on her phone. I'm like, why? Why would you do that? Do you need all those apps? I'm a computer guy. There's like even like bank apps. I have to log on. I have them, but I'm like I can log on my computer and check the bank app. What's up with Will Warren? Is it too early to actually form an opinion of him? I like his stuff, but he's pretty inconsistent. He's a kid. He's a rookie. There's nothing up with him. He's learning. He's taking his lumps. He's like I was talking about him last night after the game. He is a depth piece. The Yankees are using their depth. Stroman is not available. Luis Gil is not available. Garrett Cole is not available. Clark Schmidt wasn't available. So young Will Warren is part of the rotation. Carlos Carrasco is part of the rotation. I'll say this about Will Warren. He had a good spring, and I think he was more confident in the spring. I think he shook it now. And I understand. I'd be shook too. I think he was scared to face Gunnar Henderson and Adley Rutschman. And then Ryan O'Hearn got the best of him.
Good morning at 1 o'clock. I'm Marco Belletti, and this report is brought to you by Mercedes-Benz of Morristown. Pistons still alive. Finish off the Knicks 106-103 at the Garden. Cade Cunningham came on for a game high 24. Knicks cold all night, 43%, 36% from deep, and 59% from the free throw line. Jalen Brunson, 4 of 16, 16 points. Also seemed to tweak that ankle once again, forcing him to miss some crucial crunch time minutes, along with Josh Hart, who landed on his wrist. But Tom Thibodeau elected not to use a timeout with those two stuck at the scorer's table and no natural break in the action. Thibodeau explaining his thought process. So the Knicks will try again to close out the series in Detroit, Game 6, Thursday. Yankees overpowered the Orioles 15-3. Bombers became the first team in baseball history with 3 homers to start a game more than once in a season. Carlos Rodon, 7 Ks over 6 strong, but Jazz Chisholm left this game oblique injury and more to come. Mets ripped the D-backs 8-3. Francisco Lindor, Pete Alonso, Starling Marte, they all reached the seats. David Peterson, 5 innings, a 1-run ball. And for the Devils, coughed up a 3-goal lead, and it led to heartbreak. Lifting the Hurricanes by the Devils 5-4 in double OTs. Carolina takes the series in 5. Matt Loughlin, the call, Devils Hockey Network. 70 degrees, clear skies, Central Park. That's what's happening. I'm Marco Belletti.
All right, here we go. The big shot of the night is brought to you by WFAN and me, Keith McPherson. Bright lights, big city. We got a bunch of big shots in New York. But down in Camden Yards, I got to give the big shot of the night to Ben Arroz. Benny Blanco Arroz. Ben Rice. He's nice. So nice. We had to say it twice with the deuce on him. Number 22 for your New York Yankees. Hit 2 homers today. Wish I bet that. This guy goes out there and he has another hit. So 3 hits, 4 runs, 2 RBI. Ben Rice looking like an all-star. 888-808-1019. Good to have him. As much as I was saying, and I think Big Mac was saying, and BT and any other Yankee fans on Yankee Twitter going into the season, we need a bat. We need a bat. We need another bat. We need another bat. We were not thinking that Ben Rice would be this bat. We were damn sure not thinking that Trent Grisham would bring his bat. Good. So, talking about the Yankees and going back to the phone, Jazz, hopefully Jazz is all right and can bounce back. maybe if he's got to take off this game and then be available Friday for Jazz Chisholm Jr. basketball jersey night. 46,000 people pulled up for the hockey jersey. And I remember last year for the Juan Soto basketball jersey, I was like, I don't think I've ever seen more people outside the stadium for a giveaway than like, because a bobblehead, a lot of people aren't into bobbleheads. I got to clean out my storage unit this month, and there's probably 40 bobbleheads in there. But for the jersey, a basketball jersey, everybody's going to be there for the basketball jersey. It's supposed to be hot, and it might rain, but it's supposed to be 82 on Friday. So that's going to be one of those movies. That's going to be a situation. All right, to the phone we go. Honorable mention I give to Carlos Rodon, too, because there was a while where I was like, this guy's pitching in a perfect game. And then even when he had the first, walk, I'm like, he's still got a no-no going. And then obviously Jorge Lopez doubled off the wall. And I'm like, well, so much for that, Rodon. How will you respond? How will you respond to this? And then you guys know what happened. Matt is in Massapequa on the Fan. What's up, Matt? Getting to the Yankee conversation finally.
You had mentioned you had a bad beat, but betting. But I gotta say, I think I got you beat there. I had last year. I had Malachi Corley, first time touchdown scorer on that.
No, I would hate him. I would hate him for the rest of life.
Yeah. That was $10 to win $2,000.
Idiot drops the ball before he scores his own first touchdown and costs you $2,000. Wow.
I was out with family. I had to maintain my composure. I don't know.
I would delete the app after that. I would, if you were on that night. I would probably that would make me quit gambling for at least a couple weeks.
It was brutal. So anyway, I called because I think I don't know. I like the optimism, but I think Rodon's a fraud. I'm a Yankee fan, and I'm generally a very optimistic person. But I played baseball my whole life. This guy's face has, after the slightest bit of adversity in a pressure situation, is awful, and he just seems to unravel. And he just doesn't have the stones to play here. If Cash doesn't get aggressive at the deadline and actually stop prospect hugging and get the best available ace on the market for the first time in God knows when, we just have no shot to win the World Series. And it's going to be if it's going to be Max Fried and company, the lineup is good enough to win. But if they don't have a solid foundation of the rotation, you might as well just stop caring about it.
Hey, I'm with you, bro. Because like Rodon is not my game 2 starter. I can't do that. I can't go through last year again. And I don't believe in him as far as like thinking he's completely figured out, but he has turned a corner, and we need him not just for this year with Cole down, but like this is his 3rd year of a 6-year deal. He is a starting pitcher on this team in Aaron Judge's prime. Like we need him to be what we're paying him to be. Like this guy can't fold. He can't. I don't know. He's got to be solid. But no, I'm with you. I always say he's a more bark than bite. He's a fake tough guy, fake bulldog. Like he's not like that.
3 games is promising of a sub-1 ERA, but we got to see more consistency out of this guy. I mean, he's making a lot of money.
Yeah, and not for nothing, he's facing a struggling Orioles team who hasn't hit left-handed pitchers all year. That's what he was supposed to do tonight. So, yeah.
Thanks for taking my call, brother.
Thanks for the call, Matt. 888-808-1019. I'm not a Rodon guy. I'm a Yankee guy. I root for the laundry. I am rooting for him. Even though I don't believe in him, every time he takes that ball, I am rooting for him to succeed. As he was getting through those innings tonight, I was hoping I was sitting there watching a perfect game. I even stopped tweeting for a little while because I'm like superstitious about like, do I say anything? Do I just throw some stuff out? Do I keep tweeting? I've said it a bunch about Rodon. Not only do we need him this year, like because of the situation with like, I don't know when Luis Gil is coming back, and I don't know what he's going to be. And as Matt was just talking about, Cashman going, I don't expect Cashman to go out and get Sandy Alcantara. I just don't. I don't expect him to go get a top flight starter. Like when we did expect him to go do that in 2022, when we had a team that was going to the ALCS, when we had a team that won 100 games, we were expecting Luis Castillo. We got Frankie Montas. So I'm not getting my hopes up that help is on the way. What I'll get my hopes up around is Carlos Rodon has a .95 ERA in his last 3 starts. Keep it up. Someone got to him and talked to him about, hey, man, this is pro ball. This is the New York Yankees. Stop unraveling. If your shoe comes untied and you're on the mound, don't freak out. Overcome it. If the wind is blowing too hard, don't lose your cool. If the ball that you throw is a strike, but the dum-dum behind the plate calls it a ball, just know that the ABS system is coming before you retire, and it's going to be okay. 888-808-1019. Let's go to Ross in Bergen County on the fan. What's up, Ross?
Jesus, man, how you doing?
I'm all right. How are you?
Doing all right. I feel like, when you look at you got 3 games in the East tonight, all 3 won matchups, and 2 of the 3 closed out. The one that doesn't is right here in New York. All of a sudden, I'm not so confident going back to Detroit. And the fact that everybody talks about this young, gritty team, which like this hard-nosed team, the thing that's funny about Bickerstaff is there was a quote he had talking about how they love this, no whistle, no foul type of basketball, and it burned them not once but twice in both games out in Motown. And obviously tried walking it back and all that. But everybody talks about how young and gritty they are too. You obviously got that with Cade and Duran and Thompson, obviously, but who's been really killing us this series is the old heads that just needed like 1-year deals to settle somewhere. Guys like Tim Hardaway, former Knicks, Tobias Harris, local kid, I think he's from Iceland. I'm calling him a kid, he's like 30. Dennis Schroeder playing for his 3rd team this season alone. I think he's like the first guy ever to play 20-plus games for 3 different teams in a season.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like guys like Malik Beasley. You see the crap. Did you see the Malik Beasley tweet about Bridges? I don't know if he mentioned that's my fault.
I don't know. I saw him talk about like he basically called his shot with the win, like, more history to make, like they're not done yet, like something about, let me see.
No. Well, he tweeted an hour ago, someone replied to him like, Mikhail's dropped 44 on your head next game. He said, what, 44 minutes? He quote tweeted him. And, typically you talk about that's like perfect, ammunition, multiple material. You talk about the locker room, right? Look at their,
Yeah, but Mikhail can't do that. Mikhail can't. He can't drop half that on him.
Right. And the funny part is I got to see 10-footers, bricks hit it off the side of the rim, but he can hit a fadeaway right off the inbound in the corner, no problem. And same with OG, guy right in his face. And he's talking like 3 seconds left. I mean, where was that when they were
Desperation, but yeah, you needed it earlier. So the Beasley tweet was April 28th. So 2 days ago, he said it's the first to 4, not 3. #history continued. Basically saying the series isn't over. It's the first to win 4, not 3. They think they're coming back. And he tweeted, back to Detroit tonight, and then quote tweeted the Mikhail tweet about minutes, like Mikhail going for 44.
Yeah, saying Little Caesar's going to be lighter than MSG. And you know what? I've had a couple, and I forget it's a different team. That was back at the Randall RC days. Remember Clint Capella, though? What's she going to do about it? This team do jack squat about it. And that's the problem. There's probably 2 guys that would do something about it. I'll give credit to Towns. Obviously, he had that miracle shot, 2 miracle shots. Only reason they won game 4. Brunson and Hart, and I got to watch them sitting at the scores table with Sims just watching each precious second go, and what is going on in his mind that you don't call a timeout there? Just something to get him a game. Obviously, the tough luck that they both go down with the injuries, and Brunson with the ankle or whatever. He's been getting, knocked around every game, and it seems to be down the stretches when he's re-aggravating it. That Hart with the rough-looking fall, and they're just sitting there watching the game go by like everybody else. That was courtside. I mean, what are we doing? And that's why I think, just like the other coaches in the series, JP Bickerstaff, whoever wins the series, they're not going to win a title, because these are the 2 clear-cut, like epitomes of culture-changing coaches, but not championship-winning coaches. Wherever Bickerstaff's gone, he's turned irrelevant teams into playoff contenders. And so far, as Sims has been in the league much longer than Bickerstaff has been, but he's got no title to his name as a head coach. And really, you can only say the same thing about him with Chicago, Minnesota, and now the Knicks. He changed the culture. You give him all the credit in the world for that, but we're now, 4 or 5 years into this culture change with him. And, let's say they do beat Detroit. They're not beating Boston. That's going to be the 3rd year in a row they peak in the second round. Something Bickerstaff did 2 years in a row with Cleveland. And I don't see how he survives the series, man. And let's be honest, it's not even so much that they played bad tonight. It's just situationally how they get lazy. So if they're gonna play like the way they played down the stretch tonight, Game 6 and Game 7, I'm gonna tell you this, Keith, your hockey team too. They're gonna be burning with the devil in Cancun in a couple days. If they play like this, they're not getting past Detroit. It's just a joke. And then forget this job security at that point. He doesn't beat Detroit. There's probably a discussion if they get to Boston and lose to Boston as good as they are, if he should survive losing to Boston. But if they lose to Detroit, I wouldn't even let him back in the locker room. Just like Laviolette, don't even let him step foot into the locker room. They're a joke, man. Appreciate the time, man.
Thanks for the call, Ross. It's going to be all right. Knicks in 6. It's just, again, 20-plus years since the Knicks were able to finish a series and celebrate on their home court, and all the talk about 7th Ave is going to be shut down and the watch party is going to be lit, and, that first win that you got, and the fans were out there celebrating, like, it's just, I don't know. I'm not a Knicks fan, so I'm not going to criticize it, but, like, the NBA world mocks Knicks fans for celebrating the first playoff win of a series like it's, the finals. The Pistons trolled Knicks fans. Like, the Pistons social team literally took that video from the first win and repurposed it and, like, made fun of Knicks fans dancing and partying outside of Madison Square Garden. If the Knicks lose this series, whoo, boy. Like, you've only got one win in your building. If the Knicks go on to lose in Detroit and then lose a Game 7, everybody got to go. Everybody got to be fired. You got to blow the team up. And that's going to be a tough one to live down. So here we go. Sports are sportsing. The sports equinox is the most wonderful time. Jarvis in Harlem back on the fan. Jarvis, how you feeling, bro?
So, Keith, how are you?
I'm all right, going through the sports and conversations and whatnot in New York.
Yeah, tough loss for the Knicks, and it's gonna be pressure on the Knicks if they're winning 6, and Game 7 be pressure on the Knicks if they lose the series. If they lose the first round, man, boy, there's gonna be a lot of angry Knicks fans, just get angry. So
Yeah, they're mad now, and because it should have ended tonight. They got to be able to knock these guys off in their own building tonight, and they couldn't again.
My Denver Nuggets just won tonight, so that was a good play. Yeah, after put that dunk, there was a winning Game 4 last Saturday, and a game-winning dunk by Aaron Gordon that saved the season. The started 2-2, so we got to win tonight. But I want to talk about the Yankees and Aaron Judge. Like you said before, everybody, talking down, they don't care about the regular season. I don't care if he gets 72 home runs, and everybody keeps talking about he got to do in the postseason, and you got to win the World Series every single year, and his better brings that. It's just it's ridiculous. It's like all the Yankee fans is just like they just too control. They just get all frustrated and all that stuff. So
It devalues the regular season. It almost defeats the purpose. Like, why do we do this every day? Why do we watch all these games? Why do we do all these talk shows, podcasts, YouTube shows, watch the pregame, postgame? Like, this doesn't matter. I can't stand the fans that want to just jump to October. You show me that you don't really know what you're talking about or what you're looking at when you're just like, yeah, it doesn't matter unless he does it in October. How do you get to October? You got to win games in the regular season to get there. He is the reason that they get there. Without him, they don't get it. In the year that he was hurt, they went 82-80.
Right.
Yeah,
they won 96 games, one in the division, one in the NL East. They're the number one seed and have a home field advantage. And went to the World Series for the first time in 15 years since 2009.
It's not good enough. I enjoyed it, but there's a lot of fans, not good enough. Not good enough. They lost the World Series. They got embarrassed. Judge dropped the pop-up. He struck out too many times. He doesn't get any credit for the homers he hit. He doesn't get any credit for, I was at that game. The catch that he made on the wall with that ball that Freddie Freeman hit, That was A+ defense. The homer that he hit in that game, like what Yankee Stadium felt like when him and Jazz went back to back, like it was a dream. I still can visualize the dream of like, wow, we're not getting eliminated tonight, or so we thought. We're going back to Cali. Like they woke up, and we felt like they woke up a sleeping giant. I think. Yeah, bro.
I mean, that just blew it. So I was just
The defense, we know how it all went. But anyway, what you're saying rings true about like Judge and these fans. Like, appreciate greatness in what you're watching. Thanks for the call, Jarvis. 888-808-1019. Like, we are literally spoiled as hell as Yankee fans in this era. You have arguably the greatest right-handed hitter you're ever gonna see. He's doing it without steroids. And he's so consistent. He does it. I'm like, I don't know. I'm not dumb. I've been paying attention. I was at Judge's first game when him and Tyler Austin went back to back, and I've seen a lot of his homers live. I've said on this radio station I think he's the best baseball player I've ever seen, and I'm clearly biased because I've been able to watch so many of his games. I wasn't able to watch, Ken Griffey Jr. or Barry Bonds out west. I had school in the morning. Mom said, you got to get in the bed and go to sleep. But I understand with Judge, he is the Yankees of this era, and all it's going to take is one time. All it's going to take is one October where he hits like he hits in the regular season. It could be this year. Could you imagine that? I had this thought the other day. Like, this Yankee team to me doesn't look like a World Series team right now a month in. They don't have to. This Yankee team doesn't look like they have the pitching to survive and get to a World Series and win it. But you know what could propel them? Aaron Judge going through last year's hurt and pain and defeat and humiliation and embarrassment and dropping the pop-up and striking out and hearing everybody talk about him and talk down on him and say he's Mr. May and he won't be anything until he gets a ring and his career is irrelevant without a championship and he's going to be the most loved Yankee without a ring. And then, he goes through the offseason and he's a meme and he's a joke. And even though he won the MVP, like, he's still minimized. And he gets his dad's strength. His daughter is born, and he failed at the highest level. Life is different now that he stepped into fatherhood. And I just really feel like when he gets to October, it's not going to be so heavy. Let Giancarlo Stanton come back so he's got a running mate. And when you look at this Yankees lineup, like, they got enough guys that can hit. If they get another arm, if Luis Gil comes back and takes a step forward, Jonathan Loaisiga in this bullpen, don't forget about Lowe. Like, Jonathan Loaisiga is coming back. And Jonathan Loaisiga was a guy that we thought could be the Yankees closer. So I'm not even tripping off Devin Williams. Like, I'm really not. Like, I want Devin Williams to be good because I want this team and this bullpen to be good. Devin Williams can be the setup man. He could be the seventh inning guy. He could just be another arm out of the bullpen if it's not going to work. Luke Weaver can do it as far as closing the game. So you've got the pieces, right? Go get another arm that can start in the postseason. You got Max Fried, who has been worth every dollar. As, Mets fans are talking about Juan Soto and what he cost and what he hasn't been. Max Fried has been worth every dollar. 888-808-1019. Max Fried has been everything. Been better than advertised. Better than expected. Pair him up with somebody else, and then maybe you have a couple starts for Carlos Rodon if need be. But I'd rather it be Luis Gil. I'd rather my three starters be Max Fried, insert Sandy Alcantara just because he's going to be the number one guy. But I don't know. There could be somebody else out there available. And then Luis Gil. And then let's get to October and let them pitch to Judge because they ain't going to pitch around him, not with this lineup. And let this be the year that Judge powers the Yankees to the World Series and potentially wins it. Wouldn't that be something? Right after losing it. Moose in Jamaica on the fan. What's up, Moose?
Your team, what to do?
You're, speaking some stuff into existence.
I feel you, but bro, it must be the bats, right? 15 runs against
the torpedo bats are back. Nobody's mentioning that now.
Yeah, it's got to be the bats, right? It's not a year.
Or the juice balls. It's either No, it's a combination of it's torpedo bats, juice balls, and I guess they moved the walls in at Camden Yards.
Yeah, and we hit them mostly to right field too. So yeah, it's got to be that. But no, on the real though. Well, like you gotta love it. Volpe takes a day off, ate some chicken bars, hitting again. Such the Jazz because he was starting to click and turning around and don't look now, but Cody Bellinger is starting to he's starting to heat up. Like I mean,
Austin Wells.
Yeah. So like,
man, even Peraza got in on the fun today. Everybody gets some. Kyle Gibson he's got to retire. He's got to hang it up.
He's gonna be a roster casualty with no options. We're gonna have to either, like if when people come back or we move pieces to get a Sandy Alcantara or whoever, like if we DFA him or he's gonna go 30-30 for another team. Remember, he was the fox that Greg hired with Volpe at a point in time.
I know. Speaking of 2022, I always mention them having him start in the ALCS against the Astros because IKF couldn't do it. I think they do love Peraza though because he's been with the organization and they're not going to discard him. They're not going to discard him when DJ comes back, but he could be a casualty when we make some moves at the deadline.
Yeah, but like I love you know what I was thinking on a time when you want to give not to say this is necessary, but you know how it's in the outfield like some sort of like rotisserie or rest roulette as somebody would say. But maybe you could have Dominguez lead off when Trent Grisham is not playing.
Nah, they're not. They didn't even play Dominguez today. They're not going to lead Dominguez off. He had 3 strikeouts. They had like take a seat.
It's a hypothetical when you don't have. I mean, you want. I know Ben Mike's leading off is the high on base, but just in case you want protection for Judge until.
So they put Ben Rice behind Judge today. They let Trent Grisham lead off.
Yeah, but when Trent Grisham's not, if Cody Bellinger is going to hit now, then you don't have to worry about somebody batting behind Judge. But it's a matter of protection for Judge because that's our number one.
I think we stay. This is against a right-handed pitcher today to go lefty, righty, lefty, righty, lefty the way that they did with Grisham, Judge, Rice, Goldie, Belly. It seemed like it worked again. Seemed like Aaron Boone, another lineup, another different lineup, another historic outing.
Exactly, and it must be the back. Thanks for taking my call, Keith.
You got it. 888-808-1019. I'm running out of time. You know, these shows always end up like this. Shout out to the chat. Everybody in the chat's still talking. They're talking about a bunch of different stuff in the chat. They're trying to see if I'm going to Jazz Chisholm Jersey night. I say, yeah, I'm trying to go now. The option to go to the Prudential Center to watch the Devils is not an option anymore. You know, somebody always got to say, how about them Cowboys? We got to, how about them Cowboys? How about the draft in the chat? I'm like, listen, y'all, I tone that Cowboy stuff down for real. It doesn't behoove me. It don't help me around here. It doesn't. Just aim with the Brooklyn Nets. They're not trying to hear from me about the Brooklyn Nets. They don't care. So we'll keep talking about the Yankees and the Mets and the Knicks. Last call for calls. This is my last 25 minutes, now 24 minutes, probably 23 minutes on air tonight. This is Keith McPherson on the Fan. KM to AM returns right after this. Come on, man, what? Jesus, dude, calling for someone to retire his whole life is baseball and he's getting paid millions. Oh, talking about Kyle Gibson? He sucks. His career is over. What are you on? Did you not see him give up back-to-back home runs tonight? Go home and be a family man. It's a wrap. Father Time is undefeated. Father Time is tapping him on the shoulder. You ain't got it no more. Why would he retire? Because he doesn't have it anymore. Now, I'm not saying he's going to retire tonight, but maybe this is his final year. Let's see. Let's pull up Kyle Gibson. Age 37. He's been in the league since 2013. Sometimes it's time. These guys are competitors. They don't want to be embarrassed. Would you? Yeah. I can't wait to retire. If I had millions of dollars, yeah. Go home and enjoy my millions of dollars or get embarrassed. I understand what you're saying. He's going to keep collecting the check, but also collect the check and lose games and like deal with fans being like, you suck. Yeah, I like that today. Charlie Morton comes in the game. I'm like, they got old ass Charlie Morton coming out of the bullpen. Charlie Morton's another one. 41. Hang it up. But whatever. Don't retire. Keep pitching for the Orioles so we can spank them. Yeah, you got it, Larry. Inspirational at 1:33 in the morning. Never retire. You got it, bro. Hang it up, Gibby. Hang it up because your ERA is absolutely blown through the roof. He's got a 22 ERA, Larry. He gave up 11 hits, 9 runs, Larry. He might be contemplating hanging it up. Best draft in ages. It was. I'm not gonna hold you. Well, we're not on air right now, but let's talk about it for a second. I wanted them to take Tyler Warren because I'm, a fan. But Zach Martin retires, and they just put Tyler Booker, the guard from Alabama, in there, who literally says he likes to make football not fun for people. Like, then they got this kid. I don't even know how to pronounce his name out of Boston College. Donovan Azurakua. We're going to learn how to pronounce his name. But he's an edge rusher, and they say that he's very bendy as far as, like, getting around the edge. You lose DeMarcus Lawrence, you plug this kid in the next year. Good to go. In round 3, they get Siobhan Revel Jr. That's another corner. They need to find another corner. They were actually just talking to Stephon Gilmore. Don't turn back the clock. Speaking of retiring, Stephon Gilmore is another guy that needs to retire, Larry. It's a wrap. It's a wrap. And then this is my favorite pick of the entire draft. Jaden Blue, the running back out of Texas. Pew! That kid is a rocket ship. That kid made me some money this year gambling. Jaden Blue, oh my goodness. If they can get him in the open field, I just see Dak ready. Here we go. Said hut. Screen. Just a little screen. Little screen. Catch the ball. Boop, boop. Pew. Wait for it. I'm a free agent. My history, I grew up a Dallas fan. So in my heart of hearts, little me watching football, I'll always be a Dallas fan. Like, I always have that. I won't be loud about it in New York. I won't, go to Giant Stadium. I'm tired of that, honestly. I'm tired. I've gone, but like, I'm not fighting everybody. Like, when you get to a level of like media and radio and stuff, you just understand the game. They want you to be neutral. They don't want you to, unless you're a Yankee fan. But 2 things are going to happen with my fan free agency. I have a son, he's 2. By the time he's 4, we're going to pick him a team. If he wants to be a Vikings fan, you're going to see me repping the Vikings. If he wants to be a Giants or Jets fan, I'm not going to stop him. We live right here. You kind of grow up and you grow out of the fandom that you picked when you work in the media. It happens to everybody here. Like Moose, Mark Malusis was a Redskins fan. Is he going hard for the Redskins? Nah. Oh, yeah. We're back. 888-808-1019. Hit the line one time for your mind, one time for your mind. Like, I got to get back to the raps. I got to get back to a Freestyle Friday, but the good folks here at WFAN, they do me a solid, and I get off on Fridays and then get a Saturday or a Sunday show. It's tough, man. It's tough. The sleep schedule. I've been doing it for almost 4 years, but my son is 2. And coming up in June, I realized, I'm like, damn, it's going to be 2 years of interrupted sleep Monday through Friday. It's going to be 2 years of me going home and sleeping from 3:34 in the morning to 7. My household waking up, the sun coming up, my cat moving, my wife getting ready for work, my son screaming. And you guys know that have kids, like the baby goes from like to like, now my son doesn't like cry like that in the morning. He gets up and he's like, eat bar, drink water, drink water, drink water. And he's just like shouting orders and commands at my wife. And then like he'll want to see me, be like, dada there, knock, knock. And my wife will try and keep him like, no, let Dada sleep, let Dada sleep. And then I'll hear him and I'll feel bad. And I love my son. So I'll get up. Good morning, son. Dada's here. How are you? Give him a hug, go back to sleep. But basically, for going on 2 years, my like REM sleep, that they suggest that you sleep 7 to 9 hours. And for 2 years now, I've been sleeping from about 4 a.m. to 7 a.m. So like that 3 hours or like 3:30, like 3.5 hours, I'll get into that deep part of the sleep and then I'm up. And then I'll sleep again from like 7:30 to 10, but it ain't that good sleep. It's that like the sun is up, I'm hearing things, I'm just laying there. So I've been sick more than ever. I've had every type of everything, shingles, COVID, the flu, all types of stuff. But it's a sacrifice that you make, right? It's part of it. One, I made it to WFAN and got a show on the radio. 2, I made it to the point in life where like I'm a married man, I have a child, I can afford to have a child. Like it's an extreme blessing to like have my son, like to see my son in the physical form. Like this kid went from being something that my wife and I thought about when we moved in together years ago to like actually like this little person exists, this dude, and like I rock with my son heavy. He's mad cool, he's good looking, and I'm like, all of this that I'm sacrificing and I'm doing, bro, like this is for you. This ain't for me. I'm not even gonna live long enough to really see the fruits of my labor. But you, you're gonna be set up better than anyone in our family. You're gonna inherit everything. You're gonna be set up better than anybody in our family. I'm the first person in our family to go to college and graduate with a 4-year degree. My family tree is so broken. I've never seen my grandfather on my dad's side or my mom's side. Like you know how crazy that is? Like my mom never met her dad. My dad never met his dad. Like our lineage is shattered. So I am the first person to put a flag down and say, I'm going to get married. I'm going to have a kid. I'm going to be something. I'm going to save some money. I'm going to make a name. I'm going to make some connections. I'm going to be something in this world so that the generations that come after me have some foundation because I didn't have it. Had to hit y'all with some reality. Had to hit y'all with like, you had to, it's not all Knicks and Yanks and Met. Had to hit y'all with just a little tangent before I go. So 888-808-1019. Back to the conversation around the Yankees and where they are with this team. I don't think the Mets or the Yankees are winning the World Series. I've said that at least 3 times this year. I would like the Yankees to win. I'm not even gonna hold you. I don't want the Mets to win the World Series. That would be hell. That would suck. That would be trash. But if you look right now, they're the best team in baseball. They've got the best record in baseball. They're a complete team. They can add to this team. It's not far-fetched to say that they're a World Series team. They were in the NLCS last year. But what I'm saying with the Yankees is like, they need more with the pitching. They obviously got to stay healthy. And a night like last night, for Carlos Rodon to have 5 perfect innings, coupled with the Yankees having 15 runs scored, 19 hits, all those homers, another historic night, the first time we see this line, like great. Even though it is against the 5th place Orioles, who they're struggling this year. Whatever. It's good. You got to play who's in front of you, and they got to take the series. Probably should have swept them. Probably should have swept the last 2 division opponents. Let's go to Joe and Ho Coos on the Fan. What's up, Joe?
Doing well, and we became dads first around the same time. My son's also 3 years, so I understand everything you're saying about lack of sleep and stuff. So hopefully you can get more sleep down the road. But you always create a good show. In regards to baseball, man. So I don't see why there would be any interest in extending out contract. He struggles. On top of that, he's coming off Tommy John. He's probably going to have an innings limit. So that would really screw you guys in October when whatever his innings limit is. What do you think about that thing?
Say that again. Sorry, I just was blanking on the first part you were saying with the kids and the sleeping, and you said we had kids at the same time. Ask the question again. Sorry, it's getting late. I'm getting tired. I'm getting ready for bed.
I get it, man. I get it. Usually when you come off Tommy John, there's always the innings limit the following year. So this is going to be Alcantara's, inning limits this year. He's not going to hit 200 innings this year. They're going to build his arm up again. So I just don't understand why any playoff team would have any interest on the dude when there's going to be an innings limit for him. So he can't go deep into games. And who knows what his innings limit is for the year around that October time period.
I'm with you now. I wasn't sure because,
yeah.
Have the Marlins put out an innings limit on him? Because if you remember with Heel last year, it was always this talk of an innings limit, but we never actually got there.
Go ahead.
I always think about Strasburg when we talk about innings limits. Yes, in theory, there's an innings limit, but the main theory is that this guy is a proven ace, and if you can get him into the postseason, he's going to dominate. And to hell with the limits, to hell with the innings limit and counting things that are it's imaginary almost in a way. It's we'll say we should limit him, but everybody's different. He's going to go as long as he can go and as long as he feels good. And they've got medical and training staff people to monitor that.
Yeah, I hear. From previous Tommy Johns, I feel like that first year back from it seems like they always put an innings limit on pitchers, whether it's DeGrom or like you said, Strasburger or other guys that I feel like they've always done that. Even Matt Harvey, but that was a different surgery. I think that was the ulnar, but I just feel like they've always done that to different pitchers. In regards to the Mets, what do you think about? Obviously, Soto hasn't been 100%, but the way they're still playing so well and winning games, this is almost like a good thing for the Mets in the sense of they're playing so well, and we even haven't seen Juan Soto's best, even though he's affecting the game in other ways because other hitters are getting better pitches. What do you think about that?
What a luxury. Thanks for the call, Joe. What a luxury. The rich only get richer. I was saying that about the Mets the last couple of days. The richest owner in the sport goes out and spends the money on a player that, as of right now, you're not getting the return on investment. As of right now, it's we didn't even need this guy. But it's more than that. You take a player off the board, you don't got to face him. How about that? You don't have to face Juan Soto. Not with the Yankees, not with the Nationals in your division, not with the Padres, let's say, in a postseason or any. He's not a Marlin. He's not a Philly. Like you take a generational talent like that off the board and you make him yours. I've already talked about the pop that they got in ticket sales. Like, look, they got the pop in spring training. This is the most attended Mets spring training ever. And Juan Soto homered in his first at bat. So it's about so much more than that. I talked about how, like, Mets fans partied and celebrated that signing like it was a World Series win, like it was a game. You know what I'm saying? Like, signing Juan Soto was such a huge win for the Met fan. It was like, it's worth it. So where we are now, I don't think anybody could have predicted this. I don't think anybody could predict that the Mets would have the best record in baseball and Juan Soto wouldn't be a huge part of that. He's a part of it, but he's not. Like, who you can name two, maybe even three, like Lindor, Alonso. They're a bigger part of this than Juan Soto. And then the pitching has been a lot of the factors. Like, Juan Soto will come around, though. And I'm going to keep saying it until it happens. You're not going to go a whole season. Juan Soto's not going to – this is not going to be Juan Soto's entire season. We're not going to go the entire season with Juan Soto not hitting homers, driving in runs. Like, he's going to have an on-base streak. He's going to have a hit streak. He's going to have extra base hits. Like, he's Juan Soto. He's 26 years old. I know for a fact it's a huge adjustment for the guy. You can tell it's something is weighing on this guy. It's different. You can tell there's an adjustment period, and it's been a month. It's been 30 games. I haven't been able to watch him as closely as I did as a Yankee, but I saw a clip. I saw SNY Mets put out a clip. I think there was an inside pitch that he took for a ball, and he kind of got out of the way, and he rocked, and they wrote shuffling. And I replied to the tweet. I said, "You'll know it when you see it. That's not the Soto shuffle. That's him getting out of the way of the ball and resetting." There's a lot of talk about him not doing the shuffle anymore. He's not feeling himself like he once was. When he's feeling himself again, he'll shuffle. I remember I hated the shuffle when he wasn't a Yankee because I felt like he was doing too much. Bro, relax. It's ball two. You know, I hated the shuffle when he wasn't on the Yankees. I remember being on MLB Network on Off Base, and the cast, the four of us, me, Lauren, me, Hannah, me and X, they're like, we next segment, we want you guys to all do your best Juan Soto shuffle. I was like, nah, I'm good. I'm not about to get up and do the Soto shuffle. I don't rock with him, and I don't think it's cool. I don't think that he shows up pitchers, and that's okay. I don't think that he's like, I don't think that he's the best player in the game, bigger than the game, and he's been humbled a little bit. 888-808-1019. I think that's just all you're seeing right now is like, baseball is a sport that'll humble you. It's a hard game to play. It's a sport of failure. And this guy in his head might be trying to live up to his contract. You can't do that in a month. You can't do that in a week. You can't do that in a series. You can't do that in an at-bat. I don't know what it's going to take for him to snap into it and just like play free again. It might take a long time. It might be this whole year. Like I said, the chase is different, That girl is fine as hell when you don't have her. When you don't have her and you're looking at her Instagram every day, when you get her number and you're just getting a little bit of conversation with her, then when you go out with her, then when you bag her, then when you have her, it's like, it wears off. It's not the same. Like he was out there chasing free agency for his whole career. And in the process of chasing free agency, he won a World Series. He won a batting title. He went to All-Star games. He won the Home Run Derby. He went to 2 World Series. He lost one. Now he's home. Queens is his home. Citi Field is his home. That's what people talking about him opting out already. What is he out? There's no opt out. He signed with the Mets because he said there's a vision of winning with the Mets. It's a Mets town. You'll see when they win. The Yankees are only going to be good for 6 or 7 more years, but his contract is for 15. He sees the Mets winning for 15 years. He might be right. I notice. I said with David Stearns, it's the end of the LOL Mets. Mets will never be a laughing stock again under this guidance and this ownership. How? They leave no stone unturned. How? They have the hitting, they have the pitching, they have the coaching that they're just going to keep going. They have young players, they have veteran players. They're going to keep signing players. I think the bump of signing Juan Soto too, like they made a whole YouTube movie out of it. The hype and the status and, you know, being king of the hill, signing Juan Soto basically told all of the Mets players and Mets fans, like, we're at the top of the food chain, you know, like we're supposed to be good. You do have the second highest payroll in baseball. You should have a good record. Juan Soto will come around, and I think it's going to be definitely, now that I mentioned the Bronx, that setting is going to do something to him for sure. Going back to Yankee Stadium, where the roll call, Juan Soto, was loudest, his name was loudest, and now it's going to turn to boos. Now it's going to turn to hate. Now it's going to turn to, oh, you're the villain here. People heckling you here. I remember watching that video of him when he was a national, and he talked about Yankee Stadium, how there's a lot of Dominican people, Hispanic people, Latin people there, and how they understand the game. And, you know, he could hear people speaking Spanish. He could hear people heckling him, saying things that, like, it put him in the game more. I think he homered twice his first time in Yankee Stadium with the Nationals. It was like the situation was heightened more, and he responded to that. Like, that's the type of player he is. I said this as well. Get him to the postseason. Don't think that you've gotten there off of a good month. You got to put together another 5 good months. Get Juan Soto to the postseason. And when Brandon Nimmo is squeezing the bat too hard, or I don't really even know who to throw under the bus, Jeff McNeil's not getting it done, because I know I've seen Lindor get it done. I've seen Alonso get it done. I've seen Vientos get it done. I've seen Juan Soto. Just those 4 alone are postseason proven. Get him to the postseason. Get Juan Soto to the NLCS World Series. I bet you get a return on investment then. 888-808-1019. I don't have any more time left. But that was a good little, Juan Soto pump up, a little Juan Soto soliloquy. What a luxury. What a luxury to have Juan Soto and not need him. That's all I've got. C-Mac's in here. He's ready to rock. So stay tuned. I'll be listening to C-Mac show like I do, driving home, and then trying to, I tell you guys I don't go to sleep till 3:34. What am I doing during that? I'm listening to the C-Mac show. I'm listening to you guys call into C-Mac, and I'm awake still. Can't go home and go right to sleep. There's bright lights in here. I got like 30 tabs open on my computer. I'm live. There's like 1,200 people watching me on the live. I can't go home and just go to bed. It don't work like that. But I'll be back to do this again later tonight. Good night. Larry, like, I appreciate the hate, bro, but like, why are you here? If I don't have it, why are these people here? Why am I in my 4th year on the radio? I came out of nowhere, Brody. Like, you know what I'm saying? No radio experience. I came out of nowhere. What do you do? Who are you? I never heard of you. So I appreciate the hate, Like, imagine, let's see, what did he say? He said, imagine being on radio for 20 years. I'm not going to be on the radio for 20 years. In 20 years, the radio might not even exist. I'm going to be lit, though. Can't put the toothpaste back in the tube. Can't undo what's already been done. So what will you be? Where will you be? Will people know your name? Will people be checking for you? I don't know. I wish that for you, though. Like, I wish you luck in whatever you do, fam. I wish you luck in whatever you do, bro.
What's up?
Talking to the lives. I've been doing these.
Yeah.
I gotta go. I gotta get out of C-Mac's way. He's got a show to do. Peace.